仲有跟住仲有左邊嗰邊，唔好意思，我哋等影埋左邊嗰邊先啊。係兩位跟住到中間係啦，望住電視台嘅 camera。電視台 OK 啦，嗬 ？OK， 好，唔該晒，唔該晒。咁好啦，早晨咁多位啊，歡迎今日喺呢個落雨天上到嚟消委會參加我哋選擇月刊第563期嘅新聞發佈會。咁因為落雨關係，我哋今日都遲15分開始，就希望等等大家齊啲啦。咁就今日我同大家介紹一下今日兩位發言人先啦。咁首先就係消委會研究及試驗小組副主席雷永昌醫生，隔離呢就係總幹事黃鳳嫻女士。Thank you for joining us today for the press conference on Choice Issue number 563. Hosting today's press conference are Dr. Victor Lui, Vice Chairman of the Research and Testing Committee of the Consumer Council, and Ms. Gilly Wong, Chief Executive of the Consumer Council. 我哋今日嘅發佈會呢，會首先以廣東話進行，跟住係一段英文嘅摘要，然後就到提問嘅環節。The press conference today will first be conducted in Cantonese, followed by an English synopsis, and then a Q&A session. 咁我唔阻大家啦，而家將時間交俾雷醫生。雷醫生。
好，唔該晒，係好歡迎大家呢。今日早上呢，各位傳媒嘅朋友呢，嚟到呢度呢，出席消費者委員會旗艦刊物選擇月刊最新一期第563期嘅新聞發佈會嘅。咁今日呢，我同消委會總幹事黃鳳嫻女士呢，喺今期嘅選擇月刊揀咗5篇同大家生活息息相關嘅文章呢，同大家分享嘅。咁我哋喺開始之前呢，首先去片先啦。
想扮靚靚出街，化靚妝、着靚衫之外，髮型都好重要㗎。近年大部分風筒都設有負離子功能，又有唔同款式嘅設計。不過揀風筒就唔可以淨係睇個樣，想揀個性價比高嘅風筒，梗要問消委會啦。
今次消委會測試咗13款風筒，額定功率由1000瓦特至到2300瓦特，比較佢哋嘅效能同埋安全表現，總評由3分至到4分。樣本間嘅售價由199蚊至到3680蚊，相差都幾大㗎。
咁究竟邊款可以幫我快啲咁吹乾頭髮呢？
我哋可以留意風筒嘅吹乾速度表現。測試發現，要吹乾相同份量嘅水分，樣本間所花嘅時間可以相差約0.85倍，即係話假設使用吹乾速度最高嘅樣本，吹乾頭髮需時5分鐘；使用速度最低嘅樣本就需時超過9分鐘。整體嚟講，額定功率1700瓦特或以上樣本，吹乾速度普遍較快。唔少人想再快啲吹乾，會用較高溫度設定嚟到吹頭，但係長期咁做，可能對髮質造成損害。
大家都話用負離子風筒吹頭，個頭髮會順滑啲，點解嘅呢？
頭髮傾向帶有正電荷，而負離子可以中和頭髮表面嘅電荷，有改善髮絲蓬鬆同埋飛散問題嘅功效。而當髮束排列較整齊嘅時候，外觀上亦都會提升光澤。全部樣本都聲稱可以產生負離子，但係測試發現，樣本間量得嘅負離子濃度差異甚大。以每立方厘米計，濃度最高嘅樣本量得8990萬個負離子，而濃度最低嘅只有361個負離子，濃度同一款冇負離子功能嘅風筒量得嘅濃度差唔多。 另外，全部樣本喺安全測試中都通過結構及非正常操作測試，但喺溫升測試中，有一款樣本喺摩打線圈量得溫度升幅超出標準要求，影響產品安全同壽命。
我知道用風筒嘅時候唔可以同其他高耗電量嘅電器共用插座，因為風筒耗電量都好高㗎。咁唔知邊款樣本嘅能源效益表現好啲呢？
喺能源效益測試中，13款樣本中有4款表現較好，有3.5分。另外有3款樣本嘅吹乾能效表現較差，只係得2.5分。
要 keep 住頭髮順滑，有冇吹頭護髮嘅小貼士啊？
首先，千祈唔好喺洗手盆等潮濕位置使用風筒，避免引致觸電意外。用雙電壓旅行風筒之前，應該留意設定，避免因為輸入電壓過高而影響風筒嘅正常操作。吹頭時，避免用梳用力拉扯頭髮，同埋選用溫度較低嘅吹發模式。如果有用開風筒、捲髮或者直髮器嘅習慣，可以選用適當嘅護髮用品，有助頭髮抵禦高溫。
想知道更詳細嘅內容，快啲訂閱第563期嘅選擇月刊。
OK， 風筒嘅主要功能咧係吹乾頭髮啦，因此咧樣本嘅吹乾速度咧表現甚為關鍵嘅。咁測試咧以各樣本咧嘅最高溫度啦同埋風速設定進行嘅。咁將一幅咧沾咗大概10克水嘅試驗嘅布塊咧放喺風筒嘅樣本嘅出風口嘅位置，大概以75度同埋咧不少於25毫米嘅距離咧吹1分鐘，咁咧就濕度量度呢個濕布重量下降嘅幅度，咁從而咧就推算吹乾嘅速度嘅。咁結果咧發現咧，我哋今次測試嘅13款樣本咧量得嘅速度咧係由平均每分鐘咧係3.4克至到咧6.3克不等嘅。咁吹乾嘅相同份量水分咧所花嘅時間咧相差咧大概咧係0.85倍嘅。咁假設咧以吹乾速度最快嘅樣本咧吹乾頭髮需時5分鐘嘅話咧，咁吹最慢嘅樣本咧就需時咧超過咧9分鐘啦。咁消費者咧有可能咧為加快吹乾而使用咧較高嘅溫度咧去吹髮啦。咁咧就長期使用個高溫度嘅吹頭髮咧，可能咧會對髮質咧造成較大嘅損害嘅。風筒嘅吹乾速度咧越低咧，所需嘅時間就越長啦。耗電量咧或者會增加嘅。咁以量得最高耗電量樣本嘅計算電費咧，假設用戶咧每日咧吹髮咧15分鐘嘅話咧，咁所需嘅電費咧每月咧大約咧係28蚊嘅。咁若以量得最低耗電量嘅樣本計算咧，相同使用時間，咁電費咧就可以減一半啦。咁使用功率較低嘅風筒表面上咧用電量同埋電費咧會較低，咁視乎咧呢個風筒嘅吹乾速度啦，用戶咧或需要咧使用較長嘅時間咧去吹乾頭髮嘅。風筒嘅吹風溫度啦同埋加熱嘅均勻程度咧係影響咧頭髮造型嘅重要因素啦。咁不過咧有一款嘅樣本咧嗰個壓定功率咧係1600瓦以下嘅，咁嘅整體溫度較低喎，係得57.3度至到64.8度，咁低於建議吹髮溫度嘅75度嘅，咁低於10度或者以上。咁另外咧有2款嘅樣本咧喺個別操作距離所量得嘅溫度咧就係均超過咧96度嘅。咁其中一款嘅樣本嘅最高吹風溫度咧，更達到咧108.1度，咁比廢水咧仲要高溫嘅。咁有海外研究顯示啦，用高溫即係95度要喺5厘米距離咧吹髮咧，咁就會對呢個頭髮角質層咧就造成損害嘅，咁令到頭髮嘅角質層咧出現明顯嘅裂縫啦，同埋孔洞。咁消費者委員會咧建議消費者咧避免以高溫咧長時間咧處理頭髮。如果有需要使用高溫程序嘅話咧，應盡量縮短時間啦，咁減低對頭髮咧造成嘅損害嘅。風筒咧可以產生負離子咧，已經係好多消費者購買時嘅基本要求啦。咁13款樣本咧量得嘅負離子濃度咧，就以每立方厘米去計算咧，就由361個至到8990萬個負離子 不等嘅。咁有近40%嘅樣本呢，都係超過4500萬個負離子嘅，咁呢屬於濃度較高嘅樣本啦。咁濃度最低嘅一款呢，只係量得361個負離子，咁同實驗室呢以一款冇負離子功能對照嘅風筒量得嘅濃度係非常之接近嘅。咁有理由懷疑呢，測試所量得嘅負離子呢係環境中嘅負離子，並非呢嗰個樣本所產生嘅。若果撇除呢個樣本嘅話呢，量得嘅最低濃度嘅一款呢，就只有83萬個多個負離子，咁嘅離子濃度最高嘅樣本相距呢係相分懸殊嘅，超過106倍嘅。咁該款負離子濃度最低嘅樣本，即係83萬多個嘅代理商呢，回覆消委會查詢嘅時間呢，表示呢呢個藥產品嘅負離子濃度呢，可以達到呢每立方厘米呢5000萬個負離子嘅，咁同測試嘅數值呢相差呢近60倍。咁而另一款樣本呢，聲稱濃度較達到呢1億個負離子，咁測試嘅時間呢，就只量得呢1600萬個嘅啫，咁比佢嘅聲稱呢少近呢84%嘅。咁消委會建議呢，生產商呢應該就其負離子嘅濃度嘅量度方法呢，就加以描述啦，增加透明度，咁讓消費者呢可以知所選擇嘅。咁呢總結我哋今次嗰個調查呢，其實呢，我哋睇到呢，喺吹乾速度嚟講呢，其實呢，平均呢嗰個速度呢，就係3.4克每分鐘啦，同埋每分鐘呢至到6.3克嘅。咁為咗大家容易去了解啦，咁我哋假設咗呢，用吹乾速度最高嘅樣本嚟睇啦，咁呢，就吹乾頭髮嘅話，如果佢需要5分鐘嘅話呢，咁最慢嗰個樣本呢，咁需要嘅時間就超過9分鐘㗎啦。咁另外呢，就係喺有2款樣本呢，喺個別操作距離所量得嘅吹頭髮嘅溫度呢係較高㗎。咁分別呢係96度啦，同埋呢108度嘅。咁呢用戶如果使用嘅時間呢，如果感覺到吹髮嘅時間溫度過高嘅時間呢，就應該呢將個溫度調低啦，同埋減少呢高溫呢長時間呢吹自己嘅頭髮啦。喺負離子濃度方面呢，亦都呢發覺呢嗰個樣本呢個表現係好懸殊嘅。咁最低嘅就有一個呢係樣本呢係得361個嘅環境負離子啦。咁同我哋呢發覺一個冇負離子嘅 control 一個呢對照嘅樣本呢係相近嘅嗰個負離子量得嘅數量。咁所以呢，你又相信呢可能呢佢呢啲嘅負離子都係喺環境產生嘅啫。咁而呢撇除咗呢個樣本之後呢，嗰個負離子嗰個數目呢，喺每立方厘米嚟講呢，最高嘅去到8990萬個，最低嘅呢就係大概呢係83萬個嚇，咁相距呢亦都超過呢即係106倍嘅。咁同時亦都有啲即係護髮小貼士俾大家啦。咁如果你使用護髮素嘅時間呢，其實呢係有幫助到呢個髮絲呢能夠減少摩擦啦。不過呢要注意嘅呢就係呢要即係用咗之後呢要徹底嘅沖洗啦，同埋呢用嘅時間呢係避開呢頭皮嘅位置啦。咁如果你使用一啲風筒啊、捲髮啊、直髮器嘅時間呢，咁都可以考慮咧用一啲護髮產品呢，去幫助呢頭髮呢抵禦高溫，同埋呢減少摩擦嘅。咁亦都外國有研究睇翻呢，其實如果喺個風筒嘅設定呢係大概15厘米嘅距離，同埋呢係用47度到嘅吹風嘅話，吹發嘅話呢，而亦都嗰個風筒係不動咁即係會喐動嘅話呢，咁其實呢對頭髮細胞嗰個資質呢係可能呢造成呢較少嘅呢個損害嘅。咁喺我哋去第2篇文章之前呢，咁我哋都有套片俾大家睇下嘅。
揀我啦！哎呀，喂呀，叫咗咁多聲佢都未肯揀我哋，唔通我哋真係注定要做角落食物？你估佢會揀我哋邊個先啊？嗱，
你今日贏嘅機會係0啊！我香甜好味又大粒，唔揀我揀邊個啊？
乜大粒就一定贏嘅咩？就算好味都要食得安全同健康㗎。
消委會今期測試咗市面上24款預先包裝嘅冷凍甜粟米粒同豌豆粒樣本，亦即係一般常叫嘅青豆。結果發現有部分樣本檢出金屬污染物，不過含量就冇超出香港嘅標準上限。
輪到比較營養素嘅話，我就大鑊啦，係大鑊全勝啊！
測試發現，豌豆樣本嘅平均總膳食纖維含量比粟米樣本高。14款豌豆入面有9款亦符合標準，可以稱為高膳食纖維食物。
呢邊啊，咁呢款營養素呢，我唔信會輸俾你咯。
當人體攝取 β 胡蘿蔔素嘅時候，佢哋就會喺體內轉化生成視黃醇，有助維持視覺系統正常運作。豌豆樣本嘅 β 胡蘿蔔素平均含量比粟米樣本高，兩者相差約10倍左右。
睇下你輸到葉都甩啊！就連要比較維他命 C， 我都冇得輸啊！
維他命 C 可以幫助傷口愈合，維持關節健康。而豌豆嘅維他命 C 平均含量亦都係比粟米高。
好叻咩？維他命 C 含量高又點啊？煮多兩煮，好容易就冇晒噶啦。
特別要留意嘅係，烹煮方法都會大大影響蔬菜嘅維他命 C 含量。烹調時間越長，就會有越多嘅維他命 C 會被破壞。有文獻指出，用60度烹調新鮮豌豆汁5分鐘後，佢嘅維他命 C 含量就會由43.44毫克下降到38.84毫克。煮15分鐘後，更加會降到28.96毫克添啊！
除咗營養豐富之外，我哋嘅鈉含量都好低㗎，點解唔揀我哋？
全部測試嘅樣本都屬於無鈉或者很低鈉食物，當中有20款都冇檢出鈉。消費者購買產品前可以留意包裝上嘅營養標籤，係咪一樣以每100克去計算。
哇，佢見到我哋啦！總之一句講晒，最緊要都係保持均衡同埋多元化嘅飲食啊！要留意烹調時少鹽少油，多用香料增加味道。
消委會喺去年11月至12月期間呢，就喺市面呢搜集咗24款呢預先包裝嘅冷凍甜粟米粒同埋豌豆粒嘅樣本。咁當中10款呢係甜粟米粒，14款呢係豌豆粒。咁要幫助身體吸收鐵質啦，強健關節呢，咁維他命 C 係必不可少嘅。咁測試發現呢，有10款嘅豌豆粒嘅樣本呢係屬於呢維他命 C 來源食物。咁以每100克計啦，咁若果進食一份呢，即係80克呢嘅維他命 C 含量最高嘅豌豆粒樣本嘅話呢，咁已經達到世界衛生組織所建議成人同埋呢個長者每日應攝取量嘅37.3% 㗎啦。咁甜粟米粒方面呢，維他命 C 嘅平均含量呢就不及呢個豌豆粒嘅樣本。咁當中2款樣本呢更加驗不出維他命 C 嘅。咁含量最高嘅樣本呢，每100克呢亦都只有呢6.5毫克嘅維他命 C 嘅啫。咁由於維他命 C 高度溶於水裏邊啊，咁喺熱力啦、光啦、有氧啦或者鹼性環境呢，亦都唔穩定啦。咁所以消費者要保留食物中嘅維他命 C 嘅話呢，咁除咗要留意呢儲存嘅溫度同埋時間之外呢，同時呢亦都要應該呢要注意呢烹調嘅方法同埋時間啦。咁以新鮮嘅豌豆為例，本每100毫升嘅新鮮豌豆汁呢，就含呢個43.44毫克嘅維他命 C， 但係以60度烹煮15分鐘嘅話呢，咁佢嘅呢個維他命 C 嘅含量呢，就會減少近一半，至到28.96毫克㗎啦。咁另外呢，就係因為維他命 C 係屬水溶性啦，咁以快炒嘅方式呢，代替呢個煮啊灼啊咁嘅就可以保留較得多嘅維他命 C。咁此外呢，就算呢買咗急凍產品呢作為儲糧啦，咁儘管呢低溫呢就儲存呢有助保存維他命 C 嘅含量，咁但係呢購買之後呢應該盡快食用啦，因為時間越長呢，維他命 C 呢亦都會有自然流失嘅情況嘅。β 胡蘿蔔素呢喺人體裏邊呢就可以轉化成為維他命 A。咁就有助咧維持視覺系統嘅正常運作啦，上皮呼吸上皮細胞完整性啦、免疫功能啦，同埋呢個繁殖功能嘅。 咁所有豌豆粒嘅樣本咧，所含嘅 β 胡蘿蔔素咧，亦都明顯咧多於甜粟米粒嘅樣本嘅。咁以每100克嘅計算呢，咁豌豆粒樣本嘅 β 胡蘿蔔素呢，就含量呢係由233微克至到362微克，而甜粟米粒嘅樣本呢，就只有呢23.5微克至到50.5微克。咁以兩者β 胡蘿蔔素含量最高嘅樣本比較呢，相差呢係超過6倍嘅。咁以 β 胡蘿蔔素含量最高嘅豌豆粒同埋甜粟米粒樣本為例呢，每進食一份就即係分別進食咗呢290微克及40.4微克嘅 β 胡蘿蔔素，咁轉化成為維他命 A 呢，等於呢48微克視黃醇當量同埋呢個6.7微克嘅視黃醇當量嘅。咁佔成年男性嘅每日建議攝取量嘅8% 啦，同埋1.1% 嘅。膳食纖維咧能夠促進呢個腸胃嘅健康啦。咁豌豆粒嘅樣本咧，平均嘅含量亦都高於甜粟米粒嘅。咁以每100克計算呢，咁甜粟米粒嘅總膳食纖維咧含量咧係由2.13克至到4.81克。咁而豌豆粒呢，就係4.76克至到8.42克嘅，咁兩者含量最高嘅樣本相差呢，係大約呢75%嘅。咁9款豌豆粒樣本呢，都係屬於呢高膳食纖維嘅，5款呢係屬於膳食纖維來源食物。咁而甜粟米粒呢，就係有6款嘅樣本呢，係屬於呢個膳食纖維來源食物嘅。喺24款樣本裏邊呢，有17款係驗出微量嘅鉛啦、鎘啦、鉻啦呢啲嘅金屬污染物。咁當中呢，就甜粟米粒佔4款，豌豆粒呢就佔13款。咁其中1款嘅甜粟米粒嘅樣本呢，含全部以上3種嘅金屬污染物嘅。咁一個呢，所有驗出樣本呢，都冇超過呢本港相關嘅規定上限嘅。喺鈉方面咧，測試中間發現咧，有20款嘅樣本咧，完全咧冇驗出咧鈉嘅。咁其餘4款咧，每100克嘅鈉含量介乎咧4毫克咧至到13.4毫克。咁當中1款嘅樣本咧嘅實際鈉含量咧係高於咧包裝上邊咧嘅營養標籤標示約95% 嘅。咁另外咧，個別嘅樣本咧，營養標籤所標示嘅鈉咧含量咧含糊，咁僅以咧鹽啦含量咧作標示，就沒有咧提供呢個咧實際嘅數值嘅。咁相關嘅資料咧已經交由咧食安中心跟進啦。雖然咧冷凍豌豆粒啦，同埋呢個甜粟米粒咧就味道較淡啦，咁但係佢嘅營養價值都係都有豐富嘅營養價值啦，不失為呢個咧配料嘅好選擇嘅。咁消費者咧喺烹調同埋食用嘅時間咧，可以留意豌豆粒同埋甜粟米粒嘅鈉含量咧，雖然低啦，咁味道咧較為清淡啦，咁但係應該避免咧加入咧過多嘅鹽啦同埋醬料，可以改用一啲香草、一啲天然嘅香料，減低鈉嘅攝取量，咁以免咧增加咧患上高血壓啦、中風啦或者冠心病嘅風險嘅。第3篇文章咧係有關咧航空公司就行李處理不當嘅賠償嘅。咁疫情之後咧，咁全球嘅旅遊業復甦啦，咁不少人咧就紛紛外遊。咁喺行程裏邊咧出現咧如果喺行程裏邊咧出現呢個行李延誤啦、損毀啦或者遺失啦，咁必定咧感到非常之掃興啦，亦都覺得費時失事。咁消費者委員會咧調查咗22間呢有經營咧往來香港航班嘅航空公司喺國際航班嘅行李賠償安排啦、申報方法啦、索償細節等等。 咁結果發現呢，雖然全部嘅航空公司呢均有為呢個遇上行李事故嘅旅客呢提供賠償方案，但喺現金津貼啦、行李嘅遺失定義啦、是否受理容易碎啊、貴重物品嘅索償等呢多方面呢都有唔少嘅差異。咁部分公司呢喺賠償細節上面呢欠透明啦，甚或呢常以呢視乎情況啦嚟處理呢個旅客嘅申索嘅，咁容易引起爭拗。咁有8間呢更加冇回覆呢消委會嘅查詢，咁令人遺憾嘅。旅客呢乘搭國際航班嘅時間呢，一般呢係受到呢華沙公約啦同埋蒙特利爾公約嘅保障嘅。咁兩條嘅公約呢規定呢航空公司喺運輸過程中間呢係需要呢負責嘅責任啦，包括呢若咗手提行李嘅損失係由航空公司或者其員工嘅過失造成嘅，或者喺寄艙行李若係喺呢個航空公司掌管期間因為延誤啦、遺失啦、損毀啦而對呢乘客造成嘅損失啦，咁除非呢呢個行李呢本身呢係存在缺陷啦、質量問題啦或者瑕疵，或者呢因為呢個乘客嘅疏忽所致，咁航空公司呢已採取一切必要嘅措施，以免呢有關嘅損失。公約呢亦都定明呢航空公司呢須就行李事故而承擔呢嘅最高賠償額嘅，咁但兩條公約呢計算嘅方法呢各有不同嘅。咁華沙公約呢適用嘅航班呢，國際航班呢，咁寄艙行李最高嘅賠償額呢係每公斤呢17個特別提款權嘅，咁大約呢係港幣呢177蚊。咁手提行李呢係每位乘客呢332個特別提款權，咁呢個係約呢港幣呢3460蚊嘅。若果蒙特利爾公約適用嘅話呢，咁不論係寄艙行李或者係手提行李，兩者合共嘅最高賠償額呢係每名乘客呢1288個特別提款權，約呢港幣呢13430蚊嘅。咁假如呢寄艙行李嘅價值較高呢，就未必足以呢補償呢全數嘅損失啦。消費者亦都要注意啦，公約呢雖然涵蓋國際航班中嘅內陸嘅航段嘅，咁但係若果整個行程呢都只係局限喺同一個國家又或者係地區嘅話呢，咁相關嘅航班就定義為呢內陸航班啦。咁有關行李事故嘅賠償責任呢，同埋呢個金額呢，就將根據當地嘅法規而定嘅啦。出外旅遊嘅時候呢，萬一行李未能夠同時送達目的地啦，咁首要任務呢就係可能就大費周章去補購一啲日用品啦、衣物啦或者其他必需品。咁所有航空公司呢都表示呢，乘客呢喺呢啲情況之下呢，可以報銷呢相關嘅臨時開支嘅。咁唯獨是其中3間呢，就係表明呢，寄艙行李呢需要延誤超過24小時呢，先係符合呢個報銷資格。咁喺呢個報銷金額方面呢，個別嘅航空公司呢有特別嘅做法啦，例如呢有特定嘅報銷金額上限啦，指明呢一啲可繼續使用嘅物品，例如衣物呢只可以作呢半額嘅報銷啦。咁但係部分呢航線啦，或者因應個別呢個國家嘅法規要求啦，例如美國啦、加拿大呢，而不受呢該做法所限嘅。除咗實報實銷之外呢，有一半即係11間嘅航空公司呢，會喺行李呢個延誤嘅乘客呢提供一筆過嘅現金津貼嘅，由每最低呢折合呢大概係港幣237元呢，至到最高呢係港幣呢大約呢1177元不等嘅，咁相差呢近4倍嘅。消費者委員會提醒呢各消費者，因為行李運送嘅延誤啦，而需要購買必需品呢，必須呢保留呢所有購物嘅單據啦作報銷之用嘅。同時呢，應該避免呢選購較昂貴嘅商品啦，以免航空公司以價錢不合理呢為由呢拒絕呢報銷，又或者只作呢部分賠償嘅。但係呢12間航空公司呢就指出呢，若果行李延誤呢發生於呢返回原居地嘅回程航班呢，例如一名香港嘅 居民咁外遊嘅時間呢，返抵本港嘅時間，發現行李呢未有呢同時送達嘅話呢，航空公司呢或者會呢推斷呢該名嘅乘客呢家中有足夠嘅衣物啦，同埋呢個衛生用品，或者呢因此理由呢就拒絕呢為佢購買呢相關嘅代用品呢嘅開支作出賠償嘅。消費者呢亦都要留意啦，若果呢若確認呢未能於行李領取處呢找回自己寄艙嘅行李嘅話呢，應該盡快前往呢航空公司嘅行李服務櫃台呢報失嘅，要獲取個行李事故報告書。咁乘客呢一般呢亦都可以喺21日之內呢透過電話啦、電郵啦、網上表格呢等方式呢作出事後嘅申報嘅。除咗行李延誤呢，咁旅客呢亦都較常遇到嘅問題呢，就係寄艙行李呢有不同程度嘅損壞啦。咁若果呢喺運輸過程裏邊呢，因為航空公司處理不當，導致呢較嚴重嘅損毀嘅話呢，咁乘客呢係有權呢要求呢航空公司作出呢對此負責嘅。咁有15間嘅航空公司呢表示呢係會嘗試呢為呢個乘客呢維修，有11間呢就話呢若果無法維修呢會給予呢金錢嘅補償嘅。咁另外呢15間表示呢可以提供呢替代嘅行李箱嘅。至於行李箱嘅輪子啊、手環啊、把手啊咁樣呢啲突出嘅部分呢，如果受損嘅話呢，有3間呢係表明呢不會為呢啲部件呢係承擔責任嘅。咁有8間呢就表示會負責。咁根據蒙特利爾公約同埋華沙公約呢，任何呢只喺呢個免除承運人呢責任或者降低公約規定嘅責任嘅限額嘅條款呢，都係屬於無效嘅。咁所以呢，啲消費者呢可以引用相關嘅理據呢，要求呢航空公司呢作出合理嘅賠償，否則呢就可能呢有違呢個公約嘅規定啦。另一方面呢，消費者呢若果喺離開機場之後先至發現呢行李受損呢，應該7日之內呢向航空公司報告嘅。咁但係調查裏邊呢有3間嘅航空公司表明呢係不會受理事後申索嘅。咁而其餘嘅大部分呢航空公司呢就可能呢要求呢乘客提供證據，證明呢有關嘅損毀呢不是呢係提取行李之後先至造成嘅。部分人呢會選擇呢將呢個旅遊時嘅購買嘅貴重戰利品呢寄艙。咁假設呢乘客呢未有將呢個相關嘅物品呢妥善包裝好啦，咁航空公司呢亦可以呢以呢個乘客呢疏忽為理由啦，咁免除呢全部或者呢部分嘅賠償責任嘅。咁有9間航空公司呢表明呢不會呢就寄艙易碎或者貴重物品呢嘅損毀呢負責嘅，只有2間呢表示呢又會有賠償嘅啫。咁有3間嘅航空公司就指稱呢，若果乘客呢能出示相片證明呢易碎嘅物品呢喺寄艙前呢已經妥善包裝好嘅話呢，又或者呢會對呢個損毀嘅承擔賠償嘅。咁至於貴重物品呢，大部分航空公司呢都表明呢係會表明呢係冇表明呢會接受相關嘅索償嘅。咁若果寄艙行李呢喺延誤若干時候之後呢仍然未尋獲嘅話呢，咁航空公司呢就會宣告呢行李遺失啦。咁繼而進入呢賠償嘅程序。咁今次呢調查亦都發現呢，不同嘅航空公司呢喺宣告呢個行李遺失嘅時間呢差別呢亦都相當大嘅。咁由呢最短嘅喺行李未能尋獲後5天就定義為呢遺失，至到最長呢要喺航班抵達之後起計30至45天後呢先至會有呢個宣告。咁蒙特利爾公約呢就清楚定明啦，寄艙行李呢若果喺航班抵達21日之後呢仍然未送達嘅話呢，或航空公司承認行李已經遺失嘅話呢，咁乘客呢就有權呢提出索償㗎啦。咁亦都應該盡快呢向呢個航空公司呢提交呢索償嘅清單，列明呢行李箱以及呢內裏呢嘅物品嘅數量啦同埋價值，最好呢能夠同時呢提交呢單據呢作憑證，咁否則呢賠償限額呢或者會遭扣減嘅。 唔同嘅航空公司咧，或者會共同營運同一個航班嘅，咁呢啲我哋叫做咧聯營航班啦。咁根據呢個蒙特利爾公約咧，乘客咧若果喺聯營航班遇到行李問題嘅話咧，可以按自身嘅考量咧，向其中一間又或者所有相關嘅航空公司咧提出索償嘅。咁至於咧中途咧轉乘不同嘅航班嘅乘客咧，若果發現咧即係行李有問題嘅話咧，就可以向咧旅程之中咧第一間又或者最後一間咧承運嘅航空公司提出索償。咁按照慣例咧，乘客通常咧都會向最後咧承運行李嘅航空公司咧申報呢個行李問題嘅。咁航空公司咧有責任咧按照咧國際公約嘅規定咧，就行李嘅事故咧向呢個乘客索償嘅。咁為是次嘅調查結果顯示咧，部分嘅航空公司咧喺呢方面嘅資料欠缺透明度啦，或者籠統咁樣使用咧視乎情況啦，交由相關部門決定呢啲字眼。咁消委會咧認為呢個做法有待改善嘅。咁樣提一提咧，喺我哋今次嘅調查就睇到咧，其實咧乘客喺國際航班咧係受到咧兩份嘅公約咧保障嘅。咁華沙公約啦，同埋呢個蒙特利爾公約啦。咁呢兩份公約咧，譬如喺行李嗰個最高賠償額嚟講咧，係喺個寄艙行李嚟講咧，喺華沙公約嚟講咧，係每公斤咧係大約咧係每名乘客177蚊啦。喺手提行李嚟講咧，每名乘客咧係3460蚊啦。咁如果係蒙特利爾公約嘅話咧，寄艙行李咧同埋呢個手提行李咧，咁兩者夾埋咧，每名乘客咧係大約咧係13430蚊嘅。咁大家外遊嘅時候咧，都有啲小貼士俾大家啦。咁其實咧一啲易碎啦或者貴重嘅物品咧，應該咧就最好咧就係喺手提行李度啦。咁亦都咧，如果係貴重物品嘅話咧，考慮咧加購保險啦。咁同埋咧就係如果即係如果寄艙嘅行李嘅價錢咧真係好高嘅話咧，亦都要向呢個航空公司咧另行申報啦。咁當然啦，當中可能涉及一啲證明啦或者附加費咁樣嘅。咁亦都消費者要留意啦，喺寄艙之前呢，其實可以咧考慮咧將行李咧拍照做咗記錄啦。咁亦都咧，如果真係要索償嘅時間咧，真係要留意個時限啦。咁如果係有即使你有購買旅遊保險都好啦，都應該咧，如果你發現行李有問題嘅話咧，應該咧首先咧向呢個航空公司咧索償先嘅，咁跟住再向呢個保險公司申索嘅。第4篇，轉移 service 嗰份有冇喺度？係咪借俾我先？呢度揾到啦。第4篇文章呢，就係業務轉讓，咁呢，就係喺疫情呢，令到呢好多嘅行業呢出現咗呢經營困難啦。咁其中呢，美容業呢更加一度呢因為防疫嘅措施啦而需要呢停業啦。咁寒冬過後呢，有啲美容中心呢，因為入不敷支而需要將業務轉讓嘅。咁消費者呢，或者會呢憂慮呢新商戶呢會否呢兌現呢已經購買而未使用嘅套票啦，咁繼續呢提供呢原本呢同舊商戶約定嘅服務嘅。咁消委會呢提醒商戶啦，喺接手呢業務之後呢，應該按照客戶嘅意願繼續提供呢餘下嘅服務或者安排退款嘅，不可呢藉呢個藉機呢要求咧消費者咧額外消費啦，或者單方面咧修改條款㗎，又或者意圖咧迴避咧呢個應有嘅法律責任，否則咧不但咧嚴重損害商譽啦，亦都有可能咧面對訴訟嘅風險㗎。咁消委會過往呢係不時收到咧涉及咧美容服務嘅投訴啦，咁包括咧轉讓業務之後咧出現咧消費者同埋商戶之間嘅爭拗嘅。喺過去咧訴訟嘅個案裏邊咧，法庭咧曾經指出咧美容服務咧係屬於個人服務，咁舊商戶咧即使咧將呢個經營權咧轉讓咧，依然咧有責任咧為消費者咧提供已購買嘅服務嘅，咁唔可以藉此企圖咧免卻法律責任嘅。 咁因此咧，新商戶咧不但咧喺未取得消費者嘅同意之下咧，不能咧喺未取得消費者同意之下咧，堅持咧執行咧舊商戶與消費者之間嘅合約。此外咧，根據呢個業務轉讓債權人保障條例，新商戶咧亦需要承擔咧舊商戶喺經營有關業務嘅時間咧所欠下嘅債項啦，同埋所產生嘅法律責任嘅。咁消費者咧除咗有權咧向呢個舊商戶追討未消費嘅餘款之外咧，亦都可以要求新商戶咧退款嘅。咁因此咧，即使咧新商戶聲稱咧會繼續提供服務啦，咁消費者亦都應該先了解啦，清楚咧係咪有附帶嘅條件，或者服務咧係咪咧同原先購買嘅相稱嘅，先至決定咧是否接受或者行使咧佢嘅退款權利嘅。美容套票服務咧好多時咧都係以年計啦，咁期間呢，就係商戶咧出現業務轉讓呢，亦都非罕見嘅。咁為原有嘅職員呢，可能咧繼續服務嘅。咁美容中心亦都未必咧會主動咧公佈咧股權嘅變動。咁消費者咧因而咧未能咧即時察覺嘅。咁雖然咧根據條例咧，消費者咧有權咧向呢個新商戶咧要求退還咧未使用嘅餘額嘅，咁但係咧如果遭到新商戶嘅拒絕嘅話咧，條例同時指明咧消費者咧要喺業務轉讓之後1年之內咧透過訴訟咧提出追討嘅。若果新舊商戶選擇喺憲報啦或者中英文報紙刊登呢個轉讓報告嘅話，轉讓通告嘅話呢，咁屆時消費者就需要咧喺轉讓通告發出之後嘅1個月之內呢，對新商戶或者舊商戶咧提出訴訟，否則呢，新商戶咧喺條例之下咧嘅責任呢將會終止。咁由於咧訴訟時間咧好短暫啦，咁訴訟嘅期限好短暫啦，咁所以咧就係一般消費者咧好少喺有經常咧就查閲呢個憲報咧或者報章嘅轉讓通告嘅習慣，咁難以喺第一時間咧知悉咧業務轉讓嘅，從而錯失咗向新商戶咧追討嘅時機。咁但係舊商戶咧嘅責任咧亦都不會咧因為咧呢個轉讓通告而終止嘅。舊商戶咧喺轉讓業務嘅時候咧，好多時間咧會將呢個客戶嘅資料咧、個人資料一併咧轉移咧去到新商戶，咁讓咧新商戶咧能夠咧同同客戶咧聯絡啦，繼續安排咧已購嘅服務。咁但係咧，由於咧美容服務咧屬於個人服務啦，咁舊商戶應該咧先取得客戶嘅同意，先至將佢嘅個人資料咧轉移俾新商戶嘅。此外咧，若果新商戶咧嘅意圖咧係為咗推銷已購服務以外嘅一啲嘅服務或者產品嘅話咧，咁就會可能涉及係屬於直銷嘅行為啦。咁根據個人資料私隱條例咧，新商戶應該先取得咧客戶嘅同意咧，先至可以使用佢嘅個人資料咧作直銷用途嘅。咁美容嘅服務咧，同埋套票咧五花八門啦。消費者為咗保障自身嘅消費權益咧，喺購買或者使用時間咧，應該留意咧以下嘅事項嘅。咁一就作出任何咧預繳消費嘅時候咧，應該衡量個人嘅實際需要啦，避免咧過度預購嘅。第二就係如果購買呢個服務之後咧，應該定期咧使用啦，同埋不時咧查證咧記錄嘅。咁同埋留意咧就呢個商戶嘅業務狀況啦，同埋呢個動向嘅。同埋咧，若果不願意咧由新商戶提供已購服務咧，可以向新舊商戶咧要求退款啦。咁或者嘗試要求咧信用卡發卡公司咧代向呢個商戶嘅銀行咧申請退款。咁為咧能否成功討回咧呢個款項嘅話，又視乎好多種嘅因素啦，包括咧例如係咪咧喺設定嘅期限裏邊申請啦，能否提供證據咧證實商戶咧違反合約等等嘅。好，最後一篇文章同大家分享嘅係有關流動電話漫遊服務嘅投訴嘅。咁喺機不離手嘅時代咧，咁喺電訊啦同埋數據服務咧，喺外遊嘅時間咧，亦都要咧毫不間斷啦。咁消費者咧，除咗可以選用 WiFi 蛋啦或者當地嘅電話卡之外咧，有唔少人咧都會選擇咧直接咧使用本地電訊商提供嘅語言啦或者數據漫遊服務嘅計劃嘅。咁坊間咧嘅服務種類繁多啦。咁若果商戶咧喺銷售過程嘅解說咧 過於簡單呢，咁消費者呢，或者呢會對啲某啲細節呢嘅理解呢出現落差嘅，咁從而引起爭拗啦。咁消費者委員會呢會鼓勵商戶呢加強呢同呢個消費者嘅溝通啦，主動呢同消費者呢清楚解釋各種數據組合啦、增值服務啦、有效期等個中分別啦，同埋服務嘅細節條款嘅，咁並確保呢消費者能夠呢清晰接收同埋理解呢啲信息，讓消費者呢按佢嘅需要呢自由選擇服務，同埋定能呢減少爭拗啦。咁我會同大家分享兩個個案啦。第一個個案呢，就係就係有關一個投訴人呢，早喺多年前呢已經通知 A 電訊公司關閉佢嘅漫遊服務。咁今年呢5月呢，投訴人呢就去內地旅行喎。咁期間呢，一直呢使用中國內地嘅電話卡。咁回港之後呢，就發現呢電訊商呢收取一日呢嘅漫遊數據費100蚊。咁投訴人呢發現呢 A 電訊商呢原來呢曾喺3月呢以短信通知佢，以呢就為佢為使客戶外遊呢更加方便啦，咁樣享用呢個漫遊服務啦，會喺短信發出之後10日呢就會自動呢開啟佢嘅漫遊服務。咁同時呢，就設置咗呢每日收費上限100蚊，以避免呢震撼嘅帳單。咁其實呢，就呢個客戶呢就不需要開啟呢個漫遊服務嘅，咁所以呢，佢就亦都冇亦都如果佢唔想提供唔需要服務嘅話呢，就需要呢透過短信回覆啦。咁由於嗰個短信嘅內文呢就比較長啊，咁加上投訴人呢已經多年呢冇開啟呢個呢漫遊服務啦，因此一直就不以為意。咁結果10日之後呢，A 電訊商呢就再發短信呢通知佢呢，佢個漫遊服務已經開啟咗啦。咁投訴人呢就認為呢就唔認同呢 A 電訊商嘅做法，咁同埋要求呢取消呢佢一日漫遊數據收費，但就唔成功啦。咁就跟住向消費者委員會投訴，經過消費者委員會嘅介入之後呢，咁投訴人呢最終呢係獲安排呢豁免翻佢嗰個漫遊數據費100蚊嘅。第二個個案呢，係投訴人呢年初嘅時候呢喺加拿大呢逗留呢數月啦。咁喺1月啦同埋2月期間呢，喺當地使用香港嘅手提電話號碼呢進行漫遊通話。咁投訴人呢喺3月時呢就先至收到呢 B 電訊商嘅帳單，咁顯示呢投訴人呢喺1月期間呢曾經使用呢漫遊通話服務呢，總共7分鐘，咁需要收取呢170蚊嘅。咁投訴人呢4月呢再次收到帳單，咁 B 電訊商呢就話呢佢2月嘅時候用咗160分鐘嘅漫遊通話，咁收取4900蚊。咁投訴人呢頓時呢大感震驚啦。咁呢但係因為呢帳單顯示嘅漫遊服務收費呢已經截至2月底，咁而呢投訴人呢3月呢亦都冇再用呢個漫遊通話啦，咁所以呢就向呢個 B 電訊商呢繳付費用啦。咁但係呢申訴人呢5月呢再次收到張帳單，咁係涉及2月27日165分鐘嘅漫遊通話服務嘅，咁收費呢去到5050蚊。咁總括嚟講呢 B 電訊商呢喺3月至到5月呢期間呢合共呢向呢個投訴人呢收取咗呢11000蚊嘅漫遊通話收費啦。咁投訴人呢對於帳單嘅記錄呢嚴重延誤呢大為不滿啦，咁認為呢漫遊通話用量呢喺2個月呢用於2個月甚至3個月之後呢嘅帳單呢先至顯示，咁令到消費者呢唔知道呢收費高昂嘅情況之下呢繼續使用呢個漫遊服務。另一方面呢，投訴人4月嘅帳單顯示用量呢係截至2月28日嘅，咁但係5月嘅帳單突然出現咗呢2月27日嘅用量收費喎。咁B 電訊商呢就緊解釋呢，因為當地嘅供應商呢延遲提供呢個漫遊用量所致嘅。咁B 電訊商呢回覆消委會呢就指呢以直接呢同呢個投訴人呢跟進呢同埋解釋佢帳單，咁同埋同意呢提供呢8折嘅方案啦。咁同時亦都應要求呢為投訴人呢關閉佢嘅漫遊通話同埋呢個數據功能。咁投訴人最終呢接受方案呢解決呢個問題嘅。咁本地嘅電訊商同埋服務商呢所提供嘅漫遊服務呢林林總總啦。咁消費者呢喺決定是否啟用呢個漫遊服務或者使用服務嘅時間呢，應該留意一啲事項啦。譬如應該呢每月呢檢查帳單啦，如果發現不明嘅收費嘅話呢，應該盡快同電訊商跟進。 如果喺外地咧已經安排數據漫遊嘅話咧，可考慮咧使用其他即時嘅通訊應用程式啦。咁繼續咧以相同嘅電話號碼咧通訊嘅。咁如果需要咧使用咧漫遊通話嘅話咧，可以考慮咧購買日費啦，又或者其他合適嘅計劃。咁同時咧留意電信商嘅計算日期啦，係按呢個香港還是咧當地嘅時間計算嘅嚇，當時區嘅計算嘅。So I will summarize the 5 articles in English. The Council tested 13 hair dryer models. Among them, 2 were travel hair dryer with dual voltage settings. The price ranged from approximately $199 to $3,680. Test items include drying weight, outlet air temperature and uniformity, negative ion concentration, safety assessment, etc. Results revealed that multiple models priced from over $100 to over $3,000 received an overall score of 4, suggesting that the product quality may not always correlate with the price. The primary functions of a hair dryer is to dry hair. The drying weight is a critical factor. Results show that the drying weight of the 13 models range from an average of 3.4 gram to 6.3 gram per minute, with a difference of approximately 0.85 times in the time required to dry the same amount of moisture. By deduction based on these results, if the fastest drying model could dry hair in 5 minutes, the slowest model would require over 9 minutes. Consumers may opt for a higher temperature setting to speed up drying, but should be mindful that prolonged drying at an overly high temperature might cause more damage to hair quality. Hair dryer with a lower drying rate would lead a longer drying time, which might increase the energy consumption. Take the model with the highest measured energy consumption, assuming daily use of 15 minutes. The monthly electricity cost would be around $28. Using the model with the lowest measured energy consumption for the same duration and frequency of use would halve the electricity cost. Although hair dryers with the lower power rating may seem to consume less electricity and cost less, depending on the drying rate of the hair dryers, users might need more time to dry their hair. A hair dryer outlet, air temperature, and uniformities are essential factors affecting hair styling. However, one model had an overall lower temperature range, approximately 10 degrees Celsius or more below the recommended hair drying temperature, about 75 degrees Celsius, and may have to be placed closer to the hair during use. 2 models recorded temperatures exceeding 96 degrees Celsius at certain operation distance, of which one reached a maximum outlet air temperature of 108.1 degrees Celsius, which is higher than boiling water. An overseas study has pointed out that drying hair at high heat at a distance of 5 centimeters could damage their cuticle and cause noticeable cracks and holes in the hair cuticles. The Council recommends consumers to avoid treating hair at high temperatures for extended periods. If high temperature settings are necessary, users should try minimizing the duration of use to reduce the damage to the hair. According to the overseas studies, negative ions could neutralize positive electric charges on the surface of hair, potentially improving issues like frizzy hair temporarily and making combing easier. However, it does not mean that the surface of hair strands can be repaired. Test results show that the 13 models had negative ion concentration ranging from 361 negative ions to 89.9 million negative ions per cubic centimeter. Nearly 40% of the models measured concentrations exceeding 45 million negative ions, indicating higher concentrations. The model with the lowest concentration was measured with only 361 negative ions, a value close to the laboratory measurement of concentration from a controlled hair dryer without negative ion technology. This raised doubts about whether negative ions measured in the test were environmental rather than generated by that particular model. Excluding this model, the lowest concentration measure was just over 830,000 negative ions, which was considerably over 106 times lower than that of the highest model. The agent of the model provided figures of 50 million negative ions per cubic centimeter upon the Council's inquiry, a difference of almost 60-fold when compared with the measured value. Another model claimed to produce 100 million negative ions, but the test measured only about 16 million, which was nearly 84% less than claimed. The Council recommends that manufacturers state the measurement method for their product negative ion concentration so as to increase transparency to help consumers make informed choice. Consumers can refer at this step, as dust and dirt can accumulate in the negative ion release outlet with frequent use. It is advisable to regularly clean the negative ion release outlet with a cotton swab to maintain continuous negative ion output. After use, unplug the hair dryer and turn off the switch or of the wall socket to prevent connection to the power supply for extended periods. The second article is about the peas. The Consumer Council tested 24 samples of prepackaged frozen sweet corns and peas commonly available on the market. Vitamin C is essential for the body to absorb iron and to strengthen joints. 10 pea samples were found to be source of vitamin C foods. Based on the content per 100-gram samples, the vitamin C content of the pea samples range from 7.9 milligram to 21 milligram. Consumption of a serving of the pea sample with the highest vitamin C content would provide an intake equivalent to 37.3% of the WHO recommended daily intake for the adults and the elderly. For sweet corn, the average vitamin C content was lower than that of the pea samples, with two not detected with vitamin C at all, while the samples with the highest vitamin C content was only found with 6.5 milligram per 100 gram. As the vitamin C is highly soluble in water, unstable under heat, light, oxygen, and in alkaline environments, consumers should pay attention to not only the temperature and duration of storage, but also the method and time of cooking in order to retain vitamin C in the food. Taking fresh peas as example, the amount of vitamin C contained in each 100 ml of fresh pea juice would be reduced by almost half after cooking at 60 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes. In addition, even if frozen food products were purchased as a preserved food, they should be consumed as soon as possible because even though storage at low temperatures could help preserve vitamin C, it would still naturally diminish over time. Beta-carotene can be converted to vitamin A in the human body, which helps to maintain the normal functioning of optic system, immune system, and reproductive functions. All pea samples contain significantly more beta-carotene than the sweet corn samples. Based on per 100 gram samples, the beta-carotene content of the pea samples range from 233 microgram to 362 microgram, while that of the sweet corn samples range from 23.5 microgram to 50.5 microgram, an overall six-fold difference when comparing the samples with the highest beta-carotene content from each type. The average dietary fiber content of pea samples was found to be higher than that of sweet corn samples. Live P samples could be classified as a high in dietary fiber, and 5 could be classified as a source of dietary fiber, while 6 samples of sweet corn could be classified as a source of dietary fiber. In the test for sodium, 20 samples was not found with any sodium at all, while the remaining 4 contained 4 mg to 30.4 mg of sodium per 100 gram. The actual sodium content of one sample was 95% higher than the value shown on its nutrition label. In addition, the sodium content on the nutrition label of certain samples was ambiguous, labeled as salt content without providing an actual value. The relevant information has been passed to the Center for Food Safety for follow-up. Inaccurate or unclear nutrition label may mislead consumers into purchasing unsuitable products, especially those with chronic illness such as high blood pressure. The Council urges manufacturers and agents to address the problem and improve promptly. The next article is about the airline baggage. As the global travel gradually resumed after the pandemic, many people are once again enjoying the pleasures of traveling. However, baggage delays, damage, or loss during one's journey can be very dispiriting and time-consuming to deal with. The Consumer Council surveyed 22 airlines operating flights from Hong Kong on their baggage compensation arrangement, reporting procedures, and claims detail for international flights, and found that while all airlines provide compensation for passengers with baggage incidents, there are significant differences in terms of cash allowances, definitions of lost baggage, and whether claims for fragile or valuable items are accepted. Regrettably, airlines did not even respond to the Council's inquiries. International air travel passengers are typically protected by the Warsaw Convention or the Montreal Convention. These conventions outline the liability of the airlines during the transportation process, including cases where loss of or damage to carry-on baggage due to the airlines or its employees' negligence, or when checked baggage is delayed, lost, damaged, or while under the airline's control unless the baggage possesses inherent defect, quality issues, flaws, or by the passenger's negligence, or the airline has taken all necessary measures to avoid such damage. The conventions also specify the liability limit of airline in case of baggage mishaps, but the methods of the calculation differ. For international flights covered by the Warsaw Convention, the maximum compensation for checked baggage is 17 special drawing rights (SDRs) per kilogram, approximately Hong Kong dollar 177. And for carry-on baggage, 332 SDRs, approximately Hong Kong dollar 3,460 per passenger. While the Montreal Convention applies regardless of whether it is checked or carry-on baggage, the combined maximum compensation is 1,288 SDRs. These are approximately around 13,430 Hong Kong dollar per passenger. If the checked baggage is of higher value, the compensation may not suffice or to cover the full loss. So consumers should also note that while this convention covers the domestic segment of international journeys, if an entire trip is confined to a single country or region, it would be regarded as a domestic flight, and baggage incidents would be subject to local regulations with compensation liability and amount determined accordingly. While traveling abroad, if checked baggage does not arrive at the destination at the same time, One's immediate task is to replenish daily necessities, clothing, or other essentials. All airlines stated that passengers can be reimbursed for related expenses in such situations. However, 3 airlines specify that checked package must be delayed for over 24 hours to be eligible for reimbursement. In terms of reimbursement amount, specific airline has special practice. Some set a maximum reimbursement limit, and that item which can continue to be used, such as clothing, will only be reimbursed at half value. Apart from reimbursement, half the airline provided passengers with one-off cash allowance for delayed package, ranging from approximately 237 Hong Kong dollar to about 1,177 Hong Kong dollar, a difference of almost fourfold, 3 of which issue different cash allowance based on the passengers' cabin class. The Council reminds consumers that when purchasing essential items in the event of a package delay, it is crucial to retain all purchase received for reimbursement purpose, and consumers should also avoid choosing more expensive products to prevent airlines from refusing reimbursement of unreasonably priced items, or only offer partial reimbursement. 13 airlines point out that if package delay occur on the return journey to passengers' place of residence, such as when Hong Kong residents return to Hong Kong after traveling abroad and find that their baggage has not arrived together, the airline may assume the passenger has sufficient clothing and hygiene products at home, and may refuse compensation for the purchase of such products. Consumers should also be mindful that upon confirmation, their checked package cannot be found at the baggage claim area. They should report to the airline baggage service counter as soon as possible to obtain Property Irregularity Report (PIR). Passengers can generally file post-incident reports within 21 days through various methods, such as by phone, email, or online. Apart from delayed baggage, passengers often encounter varying degree of checked package damage. If more severe damage, like cracked shell, occurs during the transportation due to mishandling by the airline, passengers can have a right to hold the airline responsible. 15 airlines indicated they would attempt to repair the package, and 19 airlines stated that if the repair is not possible, monetary compensation will be provided. Additionally, 15 airlines indicated that they can offer a replacement package. Regarding damage to protruding parts, such as wheels, handles, different airlines had varying policies. 3 airlines indicated that they would not assume responsibility for damage of this part. According to the U.S. Department of Transportation's guidance, if the wheels or handles of the baggage are damaged, airlines should not regard as a normal wear and tear and refuse compensation. Under the Montreal Convention and the Warsaw Conventions, any cost aimed at exempting the carrier from liability or limiting the liability specified by the Convention is considered void. Therefore, consumers can invoke relevant stipulations to demand reasonable compensation from the airline. Otherwise, the airline might be in violation of the provisions of the conventions. The worst-case scenario of the baggage incident is the loss of the baggage. If the checked package remains unlocated after a specific period of delay, the airline will declare the baggage lost and initiate the compensation process. The survey found significant differences among various airlines in the time they took to declare baggage lost, ranging from the shortest of 5 days and after the baggage could not be located to as long as 30 to 45 days after the flight arrival. The Montreal Conventions clearly stated that passengers have the right to claim compensation if their checked package is not delivered within 21 days of the flight arrival, or if the airline acknowledges that the baggage is lost. Different airlines may jointly operate on the same flight, known as a code-share flight. According to the Montreal Conventions, if passengers encounter baggage issues on a code-share flight, they can choose to declaim compensation from one or all relevant airlines based on their personal considerations. As for the passengers on the connecting flights involving different airlines, they can file a claim for baggage issues with the first or last carrier of their journey. Conventionally, passengers would usually report baggage issues to the airline responsible for their baggage on the last leg of journey. Passengers can refer to these tips to protect their rights. Firstly, ensure the baggage in a good condition before departure with no cracks and damage to the outer shell, wheels and handles. It is advisable to document the condition of your baggage with photos and videos before checking in. If checked baggage or its contents have a higher value, make a special declaration to airline and provide the relevant proof and pay the required surcharge for additional protection. If a baggage is damaged upon arrival, take photos of the damaged part from different angles and keep the damaged baggage as evidence for claim. Next article is about business transfer. The pandemic has caused operational difficulties for many industries, including the beauty industry. After this ice age, some beauty centers had to change hands as they could not make ends meet, raising concerns among consumers about whether the new operator would honor the prepaid or but unused packages and could continue to provide service originally contracted with the previous operators. The Consumer Council reminds business that they should continue to provide the remaining service or arrange refunds in accordance with customers' wishes after transfer of the business. They should not take advantage of the situation to ask for additional expenses from consumers or unilaterally modify terms and conditions of service, nor to attempt to evade their legal liability, or else they will not only suffer serious damage to their reputation, but also face the risk of litigation. The Council has from time to time received complaints about beauty service, including disputes between consumer operator after the transfer of business. In the previous litigations, the courts had established that beauty service fall under the category of personal services, and previous operators, even after transferring business ownership, are still liable to provide services purchased by consumer and cannot evade the legal obligations through such transfer. Therefore, the new operator cannot insist on continuing to perform a contract entered into between the previous operator and the consumer without the consumer's consent. Under the Transfer of Business Protection of Creditors Ordinance, the new operators is also liable for the debts and obligations incurred by the previous operator's business. And consumers have the right to recover outstanding payment from both the previous operator and the new operator. Therefore, even if the new operator offers to provide contract service, consumers should first find out whether there are additional conditions attached and whether the services offered are equivalent to what was originally purchased before deciding whether or not to accept such offer or to exercise their right to a refund. Although according to the ordinance, consumers have the right to claim a refund for unused balance from the new operators, the ordinance also specified that the consumers had to take the legal action to recover the unused balance within 1 year from the day of transfer of business. If the new and old operator choose to publish a notice of transfer in the Gazette and in both Chinese and English newspapers, the consumer is then required to take legal action against the new operators or the old operator within 1 month from the day of issue of the notice of transfer, failing which the new operator's obligations under the ordinance will cease. When an operator transfers their business, it is common for the personal data of customers to be transferred to the new operator so that the new operator can contact customers to arrange for the provision of the originally purchased services. However, as the beauty services are personal services, the previous operator should obtain consent from the customers before transferring their personal data to the new operators. In addition, if the new operator's intention is to market other service and product instead of the making arrangement for provision of the originally purchased services, this may constitute direct marketing. Under the Personal Data Privacy Ordinance, the customer's prior consent must be obtained in relation to the use of personal data for direct marketing purposes. The last article is about the roaming plans. In this era, seamless telecommunication and data service are basic needs, even when traveling abroad. In addition to options like portable Wi-Fi devices or local SIM cards, many people would simply choose call or data roaming service plan provided by the Hong Kong telecommunication service providers, the telecom providers. With the vast variety of the service available on the market, the Consumer Council urges telecom providers to strengthen communication with consumers, proactively clarify the differences among various data plans, value-added service, validity periods, and other service details and terms, and ensure that consumers have clearly received and understood such information, which would allow them to make informed choices so as to reduce the likelihood of dispute. The Council has seen an increase in dispute related to the roaming service plan since the resumption of cross-border and overseas travel. We have 3 cases, and we're going to share the first 2 cases with you. For the case 1, the complainant has informed the telecom provider A to deactivate his roaming service many years ago. In May this year, the complainant traveled to the mainland China and used a mainland SIM card during the trip. Upon returning to Hong Kong, he discovered that telecom provider A had charged a 1-day data roaming fee of $100. The complainant later found that telecom provider A had sent him a text message in March stating that to make it convenient for the customers to enjoy data roaming services while abroad, it would be automatically activated 10 days after the message was sent. A daily charge limit of $100 was also set to avoid mobile bill shock. To decline, customers were required to respond to the message by text. Owing to the lengthy text message and the fact that the complainant had not registered for the service in years, the message did not draw his attention. 10 days later, telecom provider A sent another text message to notify the complainant that roaming service had been activated. The complainant disagreed with the practice and requested cancellation of the 100 data roaming charges but got denied. He then launched a complaint with the council. After the council intervention, the complainant was eventually exempt from the 100 data roaming fee. For the second case, the complainant had a stay in Canada for several months in early 2023 and used her Hong Kong mobile phone number for roaming calls in January and February. In March, the complainant received a bill from the telecom provider B showing that a total of 7 minutes of call roaming service were used in January, with a resulting charge of $170. In April, the complainant received another bill from the telecom provider B indicating 160 minutes of roaming calls was used in February with a total charge of $4,900. Though flabbergasted by the huge bill, since the bill showed that the roaming service was calculated to the end of February and there was no such usage since March, he paid the amount as requested and consider the matter resolved. However, the complainant received yet another bill in May, and this time involving 165 minutes of call rooming services on 27 February with a charge of $5,050. In summary, telecom provider B charged the complainant approximately $10,100 between March and May for call rooming services. The complainant was very dissatisfied with the several delays in invoicing, opining that as call rooming usage was not registered until 2 or 3 months later, and it could potentially mislead consumers to continue using rooming services without realizing high charges. In addition, the complainant's April bill indicated that usage was calculated until the 28th of February, but the May bill suddenly includes charges for usage on the 27th of February. Telecom provider B explained that this was due to delay in receiving roaming usage data from the local service provider in Canada. Telecom provider B responded to the councils that they had followed up with the complainant directly, explained the bill, and agreed to offer a 20% discount. They also complied with the complainant's request to deactivate call and data roaming services, and the complainants finally accepted the telecom provider's proposal. Consumers should consider the following when deciding whether to activate roaming service or use the service offerings. With the text message and email sent by telecom provider carefully, objection to change related to account setting or services should be voiced only by contacting the telecom provider directly. Second, check the bill every month, and for any unexplained charges, contact the telecom provider promptly. And also, consumers should consider purchasing a daily plan or other suitable package if call roaming is needed. Also, be mindful of whether the telecom provider calculates the charges based on the Hong Kong or local time zone. Lastly, if dispute related to the billing disputes that had reached an impasse, a consumer could inquire the Office of the Communication Authority about the eligibility and application procedure of the Customer Complaint Settlement Scheme. That's the end of my sharing. Thank you very much.
唔該晒，雷醫生。咁跟住落嚟係啦，我哋答問環節。香港電台先係。
唔該，想問
我哋等一等下。我哋講一講我哋嗰個答問環節嗰個安排啦嚇。咁我哋會首先咧係講咗風筒嘅先，係啦。咁然後我哋會跟翻頭先嗰個次序逐一咁去講。咁我哋等一陣，等係啦發言人整理咗文件先。係可以開始香港電台，唔該。
好港台嘅，想問翻其實有冇個標準啦？風筒係產出幾多負離子水平咧，先係可以達到個美發效果啦？幾多負離子水平其實先即係叫做算係合理咧？喺國際水平裡面，同埋了解翻咧嗰個可能係冇負離子產出到嗰個風筒咧，其實係咪違反商品說明條例？
係，咁我開始先嚇。咁其實根據而家現有嘅即係文獻咧，其實我哋冇資料咧話要幾多負離子咧先至達到一個即係嗰個水平有幾多先叫好啊，或者一個標準嘅嚇。暫時嚟講就嚇。咁你第二條問題係即係最
有冇咁嗰個未必係出得到負離子嗰個係咪違反商品說明？
呢一個樣本咧，其實即係我哋成個報告咧，都交俾海關佢哋去參考同埋去檢視啦。咁但係我諗係咪觸犯呢一個商品說明條例咧？當然就係好視乎佢嗰個嘅細節。但係我諗若果佢話佢係會釋出負離子，但係嗰個量自己本身真係係低到同一個普通冇話有負離子嘅風筒係相近似嘅話咧，咁都可能會俾人個感覺咧，就可能有觸犯呢一個商品說明條例之嫌。不過嗰個細節嗰度 度咧就真係要睇啦。咁同埋因為咧，始終咧呢一個嘅樣本咧，佢話雖然佢話有呢個負離子嘅功能，但係佢冇作出一個明顯嘅聲稱。即係冇喺佢啲產品嗰度咧，就係去講話我嘅釋出負離子量係幾多？因為我哋今次咧只係有3個樣本咧，就係會作出相關嘅聲稱。咁如果有3個樣本咧，我哋都會睇到咧，我哋量度到嗰個嘅濃度咧，就同佢嘅聲稱嘅濃度咧，量到嘅濃度咧都會比較高嘅。咁所以咧就我哋可以講話係，若果佢有聲稱嗰啲嘅樣本咧，佢哋量得嘅濃度咧係比佢哋嘅聲稱嘅偏差咧係為高。咁即係話咧，佢哋係有2個係多嘅，有一個咧就係少咗嘅。咁呢個咧就係我哋睇到嘅而家個狀況啦。咁但係最即係釋出量最低嗰個咧，佢係冇一個直接嘅聲稱，但係因為佢話佢有呢一個功能，但係因為喺國際間咧係冇一個實際嘅標準，應該係話要釋出幾多量，即係幾多百萬或者幾多10萬先至係一個合理嘅濃度咧。咁所以咧呢一度咧就真係要留待翻俾執法機關去作出佢個判斷啦。不過我諗一般消費者嘅期望都係，若果嗰個負離子嘅濃度係過低嘅話，都係會有嗰個質疑啦。咁同埋根據我哋訪問咗啲專家嘅意見呢，就喺實際嘅使用情況之下呢，風筒吹出嘅負離子嗰個嘅情況呢，就係有機會受呢個風速啦、風向啦、使用嘅範圍啦同埋距離啦呢一啲嘅因素嘅影響。咁所以若果係用嗰陣時距離較遠，咁亦都係會容易啲個負離子，就算你話個濃度比較高咧，都係會容易啲比較吹散嘅。咁呢一方面呢，都係消費者去用緊嗰陣時咧，都需要留意，同埋記住呢，就係負離子嘅風筒咧，佢唔可以令到你個髮絲去修復嘅。即係如果你啲頭髮係已經係有破損嘅話，係唔會修復嘅。佢只係一個短暫性去順滑咗佢呢一個嘅功效嘅啫。因為佢係可以將嗰個負離子中和咗頭髮表面嗰個嘅正嘅電荷，咁而令到呢啲頭髮係比較柔順。咁呢一方面嘅理論呢，即係希望都帶多啲嘅資訊俾消費者，等佢哋知道呢，其實負離子係講緊咩嘢咯。
好，商業電台嘅。
解唔做蘿蔔粒啦，即係
唔好意思，唔好意思，我哋逐個嚟，我哋做咗風筒先嚇。我哋有冇其他關於風筒嘅問題啊？係RTHK。
Hi, some English questions from RTHK. So, can you recap in English how should the consumer pick a suitable hair dryer? And can you also recap in English? Have you passed the report to the relevant department for further actions? Thank you.
To select a proper hair dryer for yourself, obviously, it depends on your need and your usage frequency and your pattern. Reasons being is if you are, for example, for a man, it's just simply for drying. You don't need that, sophistication in terms of the add-on features or maybe the other devices, that come with the hair dryer by itself. So this is something, that consumers, should consider. And another factor, that you should consider is about the drying capacity and also the evenness about, the heating ability. So if you are styling, you may be requiring more on these aspects. So, price, probably from this time is not the first concern, but the other more functional factors, that I've just mentioned, on top of safety, the criteria, that the consumers should consider when you pick your hair dryer. And also one thing, that we mind is, for hair dryer, because it's still, a highly heated device, when you use it, if you don't want to damage your hair that much, one study from Korea back in 2011 said that the distance, for your usage is best is about 15 centimeters, and the temperature should be around 47 degrees Celsius, so that you can dry your hair, but also it will not damage your hair that much. So this is a very practical advice that we offer to consumers, because sometimes you are just too abrupt in too concerned about drying it too quickly. But on the other hand, if it is too heated, like one sample that we found this time, it may damage your hair more than protecting your hair.
There's also a second part of the questions. Is that right?
Have you passed the report to any relevant department for further action?
For this test results, we have already shared it with the Customs and Excise Department and also the electrical EMSD, electrical and mechanical engineering department for their review. From the response from EMSD, although they said that certain samples may not fully met the standard of safety, but all these samples under normal circumstances should not be constitute any significant safety. So it can be safe to use, but still the manufacturers should also make the right adjustment and improvement on those products. And final reminder from the regulator is about when after use, it's better to unplug instead of just plugging it, because there's some people when you use a hairdryer, you have the pattern or habit of just plugging it in the socket, which is not ideal. So this is another reminder from the regulator.
呢邊我見到有係《東方日報》。
有嗰個應該係有嗰個即係安全上嘅問題，就話即係個摩打線圈量得溫度升幅超出標準上限咁樣啦。想問一問呢個牌子會唔會話即係建議佢停售啦，同埋會唔會話用幾耐嘅時候會發覺佢有過熱呢個問題咧？對消費者嚟講，其實會唔會擔心即係都會對佢哋造成一啲安全疑慮？唔該你。
其實嗰個樣本咧，咁我哋都同機電工程署都係分享咗啦。咁佢量度到嗰個嘅升溫嗰度咧，係比嗰個要求係高嘅。不過如果喺個正常情況底下使用咧，就應該唔會構成一個危險嘅。咁但係咧就因為佢嘅升溫去到比較高啲，咁嘅情況底下係會點咧？就係即係會令到嗰個產品咧就係會比較老化啦，同埋咧就係嗰個壽命咧係會比較短啲嘅。咁你話係究竟我用幾耐？嗰陣時佢就真係會完全係完結咗佢嘅壽命咧？咁呢樣嘢我哋就冇量度到佢啦。咁但係起碼就係因為佢嗰個設計同埋佢個升溫嗰個問題咧，就會有呢一個咁嘅構成呢一個咁嘅後果咯，可以講話。
係咪 AM730嘅？
係 AM730嘅，有少少嗰個風嘅溫度想問下嘅，因為都見到話有啲樣本佢去到96度啦，甚至108度。不過你哋所講嘅其實嗰個別操作距離係指有乜嘢咧？係咪放得好近先會有呢個問題啊？定係其實嗰個溫度升溫係同嗰個時間有關咧？即係用到幾耐先會去到96度或者108度咧？唔該。
幾耐時間嗰度我哋一陣間補翻俾你，可唔可以叫同事去 check 翻就係嗰個測試嗰度係用咗幾耐，跟住然後去升到呢個108度，可唔可以一陣間轉頭同事補翻呢個資訊俾大家？
係 The Standard。
Some English questions from the Standard. So, the council received 79 and 45 complaints against hairdryers last and this year. What are these complaints about, and are there any complaints related to the safety issue of using the hairdryers? And the second question is, the reporter mentioned that hairdryers with a lower drying rates will need a longer drying time and may increase the energy consumption. But will hairdryers with higher power rating consume more energy as well? So what should be considered when consumers are choosing hairdryers? Thank you.
First question is about the complaint figures, right? The complaint figures, if we look at 2022, the total number of complaints that we received is 79 cases. And for the year to date, from January to August right now, we record 45 cases. So it's almost the same in terms of pattern. But the source of complaints mainly is from two areas. One is about the product quality. And it constitutes 25 cases for full year last year, and also 10 cases for this year. And then the other is because of the poor quality of the product. Of course, the consumer wants to have a refund, but if the shop refuses to refund because it has already been opened the product has already been opened, the box has already been opened, and refuse, to refund, that caused another reason for complaint for this year. But for last year, 2022, another major source of complaint is about the repair and maintenance because there's no parts available and cannot be repaired. It is expected that usually it comes with 1 year or 2 year warranty, but if you said, there's no more parts, for me to repair, especially it is a more expensive hair dryer, that also caused a complaint. The second question.
Second question is, how about the hair dryers with higher power rating also consume more energy? So what kind of criteria should consumer consider when choosing?
Of course, some people, they need a stronger power hair dryer for styling reasons, or maybe, it is long hair that, you want to dry your hair faster. So that may demand for a hair dryer with higher power. So this time, we classified the samples into, even if you found in the market, we will have samples over 1,700 watts and above, volts and above. And the other is 1,600 watts, and below. So this is how we classify, the product this time. Obviously, for higher power that demands for more energy, but even among the products, we can see that, some products may have better energy efficiency as compared with the other. So if you look at the table in page 8 and 9, we specify the details already about the energy efficiency. Most of all, in general, it's scored from 3 points to 3.5 points. So they are fairly similar, but still, there's a slight, difference among all the samples. But if it is lower power, that means, when you talk about, their ability, to dry your hair, if it is a slower one, that means, you have to consume more power. That may have that implication. So it depends on your usage. If your family, many people have long hairs, probably they have to dry their hair for a longer time. If they use, hair dryer every day, that may consume more energy. So it depends on the usage and also the requirements of yourself.
仲有冇關於風筒嘅問題？係。咁如果冇咧，我哋去下一個題目啦。咁就係
May I address the questions about hair dryer temperature?
呢個係 AM730嘅中文。
唔好意思嚇。咁嗰個有兩位傳媒都有問過咧，就係個溫度升溫去到幾多咧？咁其實咧就係嗰個風筒咧，就係喺25毫米，即係由個 sensor 離開。因為個風筒同個 sensor 離開咗25毫米嗰陣時咧，就係直到咧就係一路喺度升溫，直到嗰個溫度咧係去到一個穩定同埋固定嗰個嘅溫度，我哋係咁樣去量度，所以咧就係應該係冇一個固定嘅時間，但係咧就係根據佢哋嗰個升溫嗰個嘅，去到一個穩定，因為佢不斷咁升噶嘛，一路加上去噶嘛，咁就去到固定咗定咗啦，即係唔會再上啦。咁呢一個咧就係量度佢哋嗰個升溫嗰個嘅度數咯，明解我？
好，咁我哋跟住下一個題目咧，就係去到冷藏粟米粒同埋青豆。咁我哋等兩位整理下文件先。係，咁我哋可以開始啦。咁有冇關於粟米粒同埋青豆嘅問題？係，情報唔該。
主要都係想問翻鈉含量嗰樣嘢嘅。咁見到有個樣本就話俾佢嘅標示係多95%嘅鈉含量啦。其實想問下，即係其實與一般食用量嚟計啦，即係依個咁嘅標示超出咗咧，其實對於一啲比較高風險嘅人群啦，即係譬如有 mention 到話一啲長期病患嘅人咧，其實即係有冇危險性咧？即係如果佢哋每日都食呢啲咁嘅產品嘅話，會唔會都令到佢哋嗰個血糖啊，嗰個血壓嗰啲超標咧？咁另外都想問翻有講到話，即係有啲樣本就嗰個標示含糊啦，咁都轉交咗食安中心啦。咁其實有冇話即係 食安中心都有翻個回覆即係有翻個跟進係點樣做咧？咁同埋就話呢啲產品係咪都要暫時話要即係改一改嗰個標籤下咗架先咧？唔該。
答你第二條問題咧就好簡單嘅，因為咧其實當我哋轉介咗呢3個有關於營養標籤嘅個案嗰陣時咧，食安中心咧都已經係採取咗行動啦，就有2個產品咧係涉嫌違反咗呢一個相關標籤嗰個條規例嘅，咁所以咧亦都係提出咗檢控噶啦。咁而剩低嗰個咧產品咧都冇喺市場嗰出售嘅，咁呢一個就大家知道食安中心已經知道係就住我哋而家今次嘅揾到嘅問題咧，就已經係採取咗行動啦。咁啊答翻你一個鈉含量啦，咁如果大家去睇翻表，即係喺第16版同埋第17版嗰個表裏面呢，咁我哋講話而家係超出咗好多，個差距好多95% 嗰個嘅個案呢，其實佢個鈉含量呢，其實整體咧呢一啲嘅甜粟米粒同埋呢一個豌豆粒呢，佢哋嘅鈉含量真係唔高嘅。咁但係就算唔高都好，咁但係你始終你話俾消費者聽，由標籤同你嗰個測試出嚟咧，都係有嗰個距離嘛。咁我哋佢標籤咧就係3.7毫克每100克。咁但係咧度咗出嚟咧就係7.22，咁都係算係低嘅嚇。咁但係無論點，我哋覺得消費者有一個好重要嘅權益，就係有一個正確嘅資訊。咁如果你係錯咗或者係唔準確嘅話，就係唔準確㗎啦。咁啊，亦都係要作出相關嘅跟進，亦都係話俾啲廠商聽咧，其實真係唔好掉以輕心，因為好多時我哋過往測試好多唔同嘅產品啊、食品啊。都係會發現咧，標籤上邊咧係因為可能要轉咗原材料啊，又或者係好耐冇測試過之後轉咗佢嗰個點樣去煮法啊，呢一啲嘅問題咧咁啊會令到咧其實成個營養標籤啦都係會唔同嘅。咁亦都係要提醒啲廠商咧，真係要做密啲對自己嗰啲產品嗰個嘅營養嗰個嘅測試，等消費者咧可以有一個準確嘅資訊咧去購買佢哋嘅食物。特別係而家消費者咧越嚟越着重健康咧，所有嘅資訊咧對佢哋嚟講都係好重要。
下一個問題，粟米粒同埋豌豆嘅問題係 OK， 佢係出咗去啊，啱啱商台係出咗去，係一陣我哋翻轉頭先啦。咁如果冇，我哋又去下一個題目先。咁下一個題目呢，就係航空公司就行李處理不當嘅賠償啦。咁我哋等一等。
航空公司。
好，有冇關於呢個行李處理不當嘅賠償嘅問題？係東方日報，唔該。
你好，東方嘅。首先想問一問呢，就係啱啱有提到話嘅8間航空公司係冇回覆啦。想問下係有邊8間啦？同埋另外我見到即係個表嗰度咧都寫住有啲見到話有好多行李即係延誤嘅行李被視作遺失嗰個即係個申報時間嗰度咧都係即係畫咗一畫啦。我想問係直情係即係佢係冇回覆到啊，定係冇透露啊，定係查唔到啊，定係佢其實冇嗰個時間即係俾到你哋即係。冇一個特定嘅時間咁樣呢，同埋可唔可以透露下有冇話即係邊幾間航空公司？因為你哋今年都收到1000幾宗投訴，有冇話邊幾間航空公司即係嗰個投訴嘅比例係比較多嘅呢？唔該你。
OK 嗱，就我哋就唔係諗住開名點名去批評嘅，咁所以咧就嗰啲航空公司個名咧就唔方便去透露啦。不過你頭先第一條問題咧就問咗我哋，究竟有邊8間航空公司係冇回應到我哋嘅咧？大家可以睇呢一個第20頁咧，就係羅列咗嗰8間嘅啦。第一段，因為喺調查方法裏面咧，我哋都講咗咧，有過程中有8間航空公司啦嚇，佢哋咧喺截稿之前係未有回覆到我哋嗰個查詢嘅。咁我哋咧亦都係就此表示遺憾啦，因為我哋覺得作為航空公司，其實呢一啲嘅政策呢，係應該係可以好清楚喺網頁上邊啦，或者係喺查詢嗰陣時呢，係可以話到俾消費者聽嘅。咁係呢8間呢，係喺我哋截稿之前係冇回應到我哋咯。咁你仲有第2條問題係
嘅申報時限有啲直情係畫咗畫咗即係一畫咁樣。我想問下係佢係冇提供到資料俾你哋，定係佢其實冇嗰個時限限制？
等等
，sorry， 應該係延誤嘅行李何時會被視作遺失嗰一欄？唔該你。
行李延誤被視作遺失，第26頁係嘛？ 行李咦邊度？
即係呢個畫一畫啊嘛。
睇唔到。
即係呢個畫一畫咯，呢個。
哦，佢係冇講到嗰個冇幅度，冇俾到嗰個日子我哋。
嗰間冇幅圖嘅。
係嗰間冇幅度。
係咁，另外情報。
都想問翻啲投訴數字啦，都見到即係復常之後就倍增咗好多倍啦。咁有冇話其實即係最金額最多個宗係乜嘢啦？可唔可以講下個詳情啦？即係佢係唔見咗啲行李啊，定係話其實佢係即係直情損毀咗咧？咁另外都見到有啲投訴嘅 case 啦，咁都有講到話其實即係佢去一個即係旅遊勝地，即係馬爾代夫買嘢嘅時候就即係唔見咗嘅行李啦，所以佢要買啲體用品啦。其實嗰度佢就買咗成即係1400美金咁樣啦。咁都見到消委會有建議話即係買嘢唔好買得太貴，即係以防 can 唔到咯。但係譬如去到呢啲旅遊勝地嘅時候，係咪即係都好難避免買得太貴咧？點樣可以證明自己真係冇買到一個即係超額嘅東西去做一個體用品咧？係咪真係都要買嘅時候影低晒嗰個商店裏邊所有嘅嘢？其實我已經揀咗最平嗰樣啦，嚟做一個佐證，即係比較容易同一個航空公司索償翻咧。咁樣唔該。
咁我又諗唔需要去到話影晒成間鋪頭裏面有我當你係一個洗面液咁樣要影晒，跟住先證明。但係即係我諗係都係講個合理性嘅問題啦。究竟嗰個產品喺個市場上邊係咪一啲比較屬於係比較極高價或者係高價嘅產品啦？因為我哋都係會建議咧，即係總之係滿足到你最基本嘅需要嘅話咧，咁就應該係比較穩妥嘅一個做法啦。咁你第一個問題係個最高金額嗰啲個案係咪？最高金額個案呢，其實呢，我哋有兩個可以大家分享下嘅。咁啊，第一個呢，就係講緊個投訴人喺2021年嗰陣時呢，喺10月嗰陣時呢，喺印度翻嚟香港。咁但係呢，就個行李箱遺失咗一個轆。咁我諗呢一個情況其實好多時都係會發生嘅。咁但係經過交涉之後呢，航空公司呢，就係話我只係賠港銀125蚊啫。咁個投訴人梗係不滿啦，一個轆點只值125蚊啦，因為我攞去整都唔止啦，係咪？咁所以呢，亦都係指出咗根據國際慣例呢，航空公司應該係賠償同級嘅行李箱或者維修已經損壞咗行李箱。咁就所以呢，就住一個咁唔合理嘅賠償呢，咁嚟我哋消委會嗰個投訴啦。咁但係咁而呢，就嗰個消費者嘅要求呢，因為佢話佢查佢嗰個行李箱嗰陣時買嗰陣時嘅價值呢，就係成1萬蚊嘅。1萬蚊零29蚊啦嚇，咁但係經過因為始終都有折舊嗰個情況啦，咁經過本會嘅調停之後呢，就嗰個投訴人呢都係接受咗航空公司個補償，咁我個銀碼呢就會高咗啦，就係去到3296蚊。折咗舊之後，咁頭先我哋嗰個文章都有提到嗰個折舊嗰個比率啦，可能由8%去到15%啦，有啲可能第一年已經去到30%啦，咁所以個折舊呢都係會影響咗最終嗰個嘅賠償嗰個銀碼啦。咁另外一個個案呢，就係同呢個銀碼都係差唔多嘅，去到1萬蚊零117蚊嘅。咁呢個個案係2023年嘅，比較新啲嘅。咁其實係發生咩事呢？就係兩夫婦就係去呢個馬德里嗰度去玩啦，咁但係其實佢要飛好多唔同嘅地方嘅，咁但係點知咧嗰個行李就梗係延啦，咁延咗之後，咁啊梗係佢又係需要咧去買一啲嘅日常嘅用品去補充啦。咁佢嗰陣時咧就佢話佢即係根據消費者話俾我聽，其實佢問個航空公司服務員喎，其實係冇話有上限嘅喎，咁總之合理就得啦，咁所以佢咪買咯。咁佢買嗰陣時咧就買咗大約係 Euro 1200蚊到，咁佢諗住之後就可以去索償啦。咁但係點知索償嗰陣時咧，咁航空公司話唔係喎，唔可以咁多喎，我哋只可以俾翻400幾蚊 Euro 嚟，咁所以咧嗰個理解同埋期望上邊咧就明顯地有一個落差啦，咁所以嚟咗我哋嗰度投訴。咁而呢個個案咧應該都係幾新下㗎，咁啊仍然都係處理當中，咁所以個結局係點咧就可能要遲啲先話到俾大家聽。
好，跟住有冇下一條問題？係 RTHK please。
Some English questions from RTHK. So, is there currently any regulations or recommendations for the depreciation rate for compensating passengers for lost baggage? And what would be your suggestion on such rates? And also, as the report involves international airlines, have you passed the reports to any relevant department for follow-up? Thank you.
For this one, we are not checking. We haven't passed it, to the aviation department. Reasons being is it is more a comparison survey for information by consumers because many people start traveling. So if you don't know the details, maybe the expectation and also the policy of different airlines may not be met. And also, this article also serves the education purpose about what are the international conventions that govern this kind of compensation. Because for one traveler, they may bring very, very luxurious items, but for certain traveler, they are very economical or very basic. So it cannot be customized, in terms of approach, but that requires an average approach for that. So for this time, very important advice, that we offer to consumers is if you're traveling, if you are having very, very expensive items with you, do be mindful about, whether you put it in your check-in luggage, better, to carry it together with you and also wrap it well because there's still a cap for the compensation, despite the fact that as the two conventions, the Montreal Convention and also the Warsaw Conventions, they have difference. The Montreal Convention is more favorable to consumers, but still the highest amount, that claimable is 13,430 Hong Kong dollar, roughly. So if you are buying very expensive watches, talk about millions of dollars, if you put it in your luggage and you lost it, if you don't buy separate insurance, that will be at your own loss. So this is something, that we have to remind consumers. And that's why, we haven't passed it to the regulator, for the information. The second question is, sorry. The depreciation. According to the two conventions, there's no fixed policy for that. So it is the individual policy of different airlines. So when you look at the comparison we have this time, some have less, depletion rate, take a longer period, 8% to 15%. So consumer has to be aware of this policy, when they are negotiating with the airlines about the possible depreciation rate or discount rate on different claim.
香港電台。
想問翻即係消委會啦，對嗰間航空公司遵守兩項公約嘅表現咧，有冇啲咩評價啦？同埋其實即係航空公司咧，即係遵守公約有冇一啲法律責任嘅咧？如果係即係冇約束力嘅話，係咪冇話老虎咧？唔該。
其實咧，我哋覺得從個消費者權益嚟講，你梗係越清楚越好啦。你講清楚幾多人，我點賠法，大家唔需要爭拗。因為咧，我哋發現咧喺今次嚟講，有一啲話純粹係視乎情況而定嘅咧，咁就真係大家係係不斷咁樣去講價，又或者係去議價嘅情況底下去處理問題咧，呢一個係未必係太理想嘅。咁當然我哋都會明白咧，喺某一啲嘅處理嘅情況咧，嗰個賠償額亦都係視乎嗰個乘客所買嗰個嘅機票嗰個嘅級別而有所不同。咁呢樣嘢我哋可以理解。咁但係若果係唔清唔楚，又或者係即係正如頭先所講，係永遠都係視乎情況而定嘅話咧，咁就會好容易就會引起好多我哋話個透明度唔高嗰陣時咧，就會引起個爭拗啦。咁而嗰個時限上邊咧，我哋今次咧亦都係會睇到啦。譬如話你真係唔見咗行李，點為之真係會視咗一個遺失咧？其實嗰個時限上邊咧，都個距離都會比較參差。同埋喺我哋嗰個嘅投訴嘅實錄裏面咧，都會睇到咧，可能航空公司因為復飛翻之後咧，人手都係有啲短缺咧。當佢處理到一啲個延誤行李或者係即係遺失行李嗰陣時咧，嗰個時間咧同佢嗰個服務嗰個嘅承諾咧，真係出現咗一個幾嚴重嘅差距。你話係可能係21日裏面已經處理好啦，但係有啲客可能係要等2-3個月，甚至4-5個月之後先至可以處理到佢自己嘅個案嘅話咧，又唔知你可以賠幾多俾我咧？咁其實咧真係會令到個乘客咧係有所不滿嘅。咁呢啲地方我哋都好希望，一方面就係消費者教育，大家要清楚自己嘅權益同埋嗰個唔同航空公司原來政策上面都係有唔同。咁所以呢啲魔鬼細節咧，大家一定要留意，特別係你有一啲貴重物品嗰陣時。咁但係另外一方面咧，我哋都希望咧呼籲，都促請咧航空公司咧就住呢一啲嘅政策可以增加佢嗰個透明度，咁啊可以減少爭拗啦嚇。
下一條問題，仲有冇關於行李賠償嘅問題？Stand up please.
Hello, some English questions from Standard. So, like you have mentioned that the complaint figures has significantly increased after the flights resume in post-COVID times. But are there any complaint figures in 2019 or pre-COVID times for comparison? And also the two convention actually applies to different countries or regions. So how do consumers know that whether their flights are covered by either Warsaw Convention or the another convention? Thank you.
Actually, one basic concept is, or maybe one piece of very important knowledge is the airline has no right to govern they follow which convention or not. It is just determined by the destination, the two destinations, by themselves. So if the destination only follow Warsaw for that convention, or maybe follow both, if it is the destination you determine that, the airlines has to follow. So this is very important for the consumer to know. I don't have a specific statistics about how many flights in the world follow one or the other, but at least people have to know it is not the airline to decide. It is just the country or maybe the place by itself to determine. Okay, the complaint figures. Just hold on a second. All right. If exactly about very specific about baggage claim dispute, it's not that many. For 2020, we have 17 cases. 2021, 5, and 2022, 14. But of course, those are the time that people don't travel that much. But for the first 8 months of this year, we record 61 cases already. So that means quite a significant increase. Even though the absolute number is not a lot, but the increase by itself, must draw people's attention, because if the customer service on the baggage handling worldwide, due to the shortage of labor or whatever reasons, is not as good as before or proper as before, the chance of having this kind of disputes may increase as well.
有冇其他問題係關於呢個題目嘅？如果冇，我哋就去下一個題目。下一個題目呢，就係關於業務轉讓嘅。咁我哋又等一等先啦。係有冇關於業務轉讓嘅問題？係，請報，唔該。
都係想問翻啲投訴數字啦，見到都係多咗好多啦。可唔可以講下最大嘅金額啦，同埋佢哋平均係每一宗係咪都比較涉及啲套票啊嗰啲係比較多咧？同埋嗰個理由上邊會唔會都好似個投訴個案咁講，就係其實佢就算肯承讓翻佢嘅之前嘅服務啦，但係都會成日都會話自己冇嗰部機啊，或者佢已經冇嗰個技師去幫佢做啊，結果又要再收佢錢，會唔會多？呢啲投訴係咪都比較佔得多係呢啲咧？咁同埋另外都想問翻，雖然個新商戶有責任去承擔翻嗰個舊商戶嘅服務嗰啲費用嗰啲嘢啦，咁但係如果係消費者角度嚟講，係咪都見到係好難去索償翻，真係去原額退翻錢俾我哋咧？咁唔該。
好，咁我哋講個故事先啦，最高金額嗰個先啦，好冇？嗱，最高金額嗰個我哋等我抄翻出嚟先，係4萬幾蚊嘅，等等。最高金額個案呢，就係59,740蚊。咁呢個個案呢，就發生於又係好近嘅，啱啱2個月前嘅啫，7月今年。咁呢一個呢，就係關於咩嘅呢？就係個消費者呢，其實喺2022年呢11月嗰陣時已經開始幫襯呢一間鋪頭㗎啦。咁而呢，佢呢，就嗰陣時呢都呢個消費者都幾捨得㗎，就嗰陣時已經買咗呢成6萬蚊嘅按摩療程。咁其實每一次呢，就係即係做唔同嘅方法啦，譬如話可能係普通嘅按摩啦，又或者係用一啲我哋叫叉身啦嚇，因為而家好興係做嗰個叉身，用個叉幫你去推，可以會舒服啲啊咁樣啦。咁咧就係佢話咧就係每一次係200蚊一次，即係總之我買咗6萬蚊，咁但係咧我每一次嚟做，我做幾樣嘢嘅話咧，每一樣嘢都係200蚊嘅啫，就係咁多噶啦，咁樣嘅200蚊一次。咁但係咧就之後咧就係因為始終跟住咧佢咧就發現啦，開始咧就係比較難去約啦。 咁因為佢自己都有時會去幫襯，有時唔去幫襯啦咁但係咧嬲尾咧去到2023年5月尾嗰陣時咧就佢收到個信息就叫聯絡佢啦。咁咧跟住佢就去翻個鋪頭度幫襯啦。咁但係去到嗰陣時咧就發現咧原來咧呢一間鋪頭咧就已經係轉咗手啦嚇。咁轉咗手之後咧，咁其實對佢嚟講就最不滿嘅係咩咧？咁其實咧佢咧就話原來咧就從今開始，從今以後咧佢只可以用原價咧係每一次600蚊去做一次療程。咁200蚊同600蚊大家可以想象啦，即係貴咗2倍咁多啦。咁所以咧佢就覺得係好不滿啦，因為之前有冇講到啦，咁同埋咧就係一個咁大嘅變更嗰陣時，佢亦都係話俾佢聽咧，佢就冇得退款嘅。咁佢咧就冇咗呢個權利，咁所以咧佢覺得如果係咁嘅情況之下，就應該可以享受翻折扣價原本嗰陣時嗰個按摩嗰個嘅價錢。咁就唔係話你話幾多我就幾多咁樣。咁呢一個咧就係消費者嗰個嘅投訴啦。咁所以正咧就係我哋呢一個個案，大家都知道好新啦嚇。咁我哋仍然都係處理當中，又係結局如何咧就下回分解啦。另外就係你有啲咩問題，就係嗰個投訴數字。當然啦嚇，因為其實我哋睇到咧，如果係舊年全年嚟講咧，就係2022年我哋有10單有關於呢一類嘅業務轉讓嘅投訴啦。但係去到今年頭嗰8個月咧，我哋已經收到33宗。咁而33宗裡面咧，就係有13宗，即係有17宗咧係純粹係講話佢店鋪結業，但係你13宗咧就係講呢一啲嗰個嘅。就係話我冇咁嘅儀器喎，或者我哋而家嗰啲服務係同以前已經唔同㗎咯喎。咁你一定要加錢，咁然後先至可以繼續享有呢啲服務啊。咁亦都有啲消費者咧，就係大家會知道啲美容院其實佢哋計算方法唔同㗎嘛，啲預繳式消費有啲係斷次扣啦，但係有啲係扣格仔㗎嘛。扣印花啊咁樣，咁但係咧，我哋亦都係有啲嘅個案嘅內容咧，係話俾我聽咧，當佢轉咗去另外一間美容院嗰陣時咧，佢哋扣嘅方法咧又唔同，同埋佢哋計算話你剩翻幾多錢嘅方法咧都係唔同。咁我消費者佢就會覺得我真係冇得揀喎，好似俾人坑咗咁樣啦嚇。咁所以係就嚟消委會嗰度投訴，就希望我哋可以幫佢追討翻佢嗰個經濟上面嗰個損失，又或者係你俾翻以前我應該有嗰個服務喺度。咁啊正係我哋睇到呢一啲嘅個案呢，我哋都會覺得咧要話翻俾個消費者聽，其實你真係有你嗰個消費者嘅權益喺度嘅，唔係話業務轉讓你就係冇得揀，係肉隨砧板上嘅，你係有得揀，同埋係可以同個舊商戶或者係個新商戶嗰度呢，係個細節嗰度，我哋今次嘅文章已經講咗啦，係可以係向佢哋追討。不過喺法律上面當然有佢個時限啦。譬如話刊憲同埋或者冇刊憲嗰個時限點樣去追討個新商戶或者舊商戶呢？咁消費者真係要有呢一方面嘅知識。咁你面對住嗰間美容院嗰陣時，你會知道自己嘅權益喺邊度，同埋可以據理力爭咯。
係，有冇下一條問題？美容院業務轉讓嘅。咁好咧，我哋就去最後嗰個題目啦。咁最後個題目咧就係一個投訴實錄嚟嘅，就係關於流動電話漫遊服務嘅投訴。咁我哋等兩位整理完文件，我哋就開始啊。我哋可以開始啦。係Now TV 先，唔該。
係，hello， 3條問題。第一條問題咧都係問翻，依家公佈咗3個個案，係咪已經包括咗過萬蚊呢一單已經係金額最高嘅 case 咧？如果唔係嘅話，可唔可以分享下其實最高金額嗰單係點嘅情況？咁另外第二條問題咧都係想問翻，其實見到咧今年頭8個月嗰個數字咧已經去到成1200幾宗㗎啦。咁再望翻前嗰幾年咧，其實都見到除咗話疫情嘅嗰年少啲之外咧，都係過千宗嘅。想問翻，其實呢啲問題係咪都一直存在？可唔可以講翻大概而家個1200幾宗入面，各類嘅投訴佔比係幾多呢？係咪當中都有涉及一啲虛假宣傳之類嘅？咁另外第3條問題就係想睇翻，其實都見到呢，呢啲個案都係講緊話幾個月咁樣先至意識到俾人收多咗錢。咁想問翻，其實係咪當中都有樣幾難追討嘅問題，有滯後性，同埋就係消費者同埋電信商嗰個責任點樣釐定呢？好似都唔係話冇主動告知，佢嗰啲條款都係 有告知，咁但係好似好多咁樣。其實消費者同埋電信商之間點樣去個賠償問題，話點樣可以確定得到邊個負嘅責任要大啲呢？唔該。
OK， 逐條嚟。最高金額嘅個案，咁最高嘅金額最近嗰3年呢，最高金額個案呢係2020年嘅，直接到個個案呢就涉及嘅金額呢就係3萬蚊。咁如果3萬蚊係好明顯就係一個震撼帳單啦，就係點解呢？就係因為個消費者咧喺2月嗰陣時去咗西班牙玩，就俾人呢就搶走咗嗰個背囊。咁大家都知道啦，係西班牙嗰啲係即係好容易都俾人去搶個背囊㗎。咁佢咧就冇為意喎，佢原來喺佢個背包裡面呢就有一張香港嘅電話卡，咁就冇向嗰個電信商去報失嘅。咁而佢冇報失嘅情況底下呢，就直到個電信商因為都會俾翻張單佢噶嘛，咁啊話透過電郵咧通知佢咧個漫遊通話費咧就一個震撼嘅帳單，咁佢嗰陣時咧先得悉，因為佢今次呢一個旅行係比較長時間㗎，咁啊跟住然後咧先知道電話卡咧就俾人盜用咗，咁然後咧先識得咧喺3月5號即係事隔都一段時間啊，向嗰個電信商去報失呢個電話卡，但係大家都知道啦，咁但係咧佢報失個電話卡之後咧。就喺入帳嗰陣時咧，就發現咧喺報失嗰陣時咧，亦都已經睇到個入帳嗰個漫遊嘅通話咧。咁個電信商咧就係話唔好意思啦，我真係冇辦法處理啦，因為咧你又冇報失，咁啊已經係有啲使用咗嘅情況已經出現咗啦。咁但係當個消費者咁真係慘啦，自己中咗招，即係唔好彩自己唔記得去報失嗰陣時睇翻佢張帳單。咁但係張帳單係嗰個投訴係咩咧？就當佢發現最多嗰個漫遊通話嗰陣時咧，其實喺佢報失之前嗰日。即係佢3月5號報失，但係3月4號咧就竟然有超過成1700分鐘喺嗰日嘅通話係發生咗。咁但係其實咧常理話俾我哋聽，一日只係得1440分鐘嘅啫。咁邊會出到呢個1700分鐘出嚟咧？咁佢就覺得咧係咪呢個記錄上邊咧係有一個誤差喺度，咁所以咧就嚟本會嗰個求助啦。咁跟住然後咧經過我哋同嗰個電信商去磋商，即係同埋去調停嗰陣時咧，咁個電信商咧喺呢3萬蚊裏面咧就終於係同意咧係退翻2萬蚊。咁如果消費者亦都覺得自己有個責任嘅，因為自己冇報失啊嘛，自己唔為意原來有張電話卡啊嘛，咁所以佢咧就俾1/3，電信商咧就退翻2/3俾佢。咁所以咧喺呢個個案裏面咧都可以得到一個可以係話圓滿嘅解決咯。好，第二條問題。8個月過千宗，係sorry，你嗰條問題係
投訴佔比係幾多？會唔會有啲係電信商佢虛假宣傳呢一啲咧？
嗱，其實喺呢1213宗裏面咧，佔咗一半啊，635宗係啲收費嘅爭議，就係正就點解我哋今次要用投訴實例去講咧，就係呢個原因啦。因為好多時啲產品係轉得好快，林總總，但係若果個消費者一方面唔睇清楚啲條款或者係嗰個收費嘅方法，但係另外一方面咧賣嗰陣時啲銷售員就會覺得都係好簡單啫，呢一啲嘅產品我都唔使講咁多啦，你都明㗎啦咁。但係咧根本係原來大家嗰個理解上面有一個嚴重嘅落差，同埋對啲條款裡面嗰個理解係有一個細節嗰方面係有一個完全係唔清晰嘅地方嗰陣時，或者真係有出現咗一個誤差咧，就會出現咗呢啲嘅問題咯。所以佔咗一半就有收費爭議，另外咧就有25%咧就係啲服務質素嘅問題。咁呢一方面咧其實係難啲去處理嘅，因為譬如話你去到第二度啊，啲網絡係比較差啊，唔理想啊等等嘅呢一啲嘅情況底下咧，咁好難咧就係話要去賠錢嘅嚇，因為真係喺你身處外地嗰陣時，網絡速度慢啊，大家都經歷過好多㗎啦，咁你好難話因為咁而我唔俾嗰張俾嗰啲錢啊，唔俾嗰個漫遊費啊等等嘅，咁呢啲就比較困難啲啦。咁而最嬲尾咧就係一啲合約嘅糾紛啦，咁都係嗰啲時間上面問題啦，即係第3個個案就係一個合約嘅糾紛啦。我以為我買咗嗰張 prepaid SIM 同埋嗰個漫遊嗰個嘅數據組合，以為係同一時間去係 expire 嘅，即係去過期嘅。咁但係點知原來唔係嘅，大家個時限係唔同嘅。咁呢啲咪出現咗呢一個合約嘅糾紛嗰個嘅問題咯。咁所以喺呢3個類別裡面，100%一半就係收費爭議，25%服務質素，22%就係呢個合約糾紛嗰個問題。第3條問題
係仲有第3條問題係咪啊？
係啊，就係想知道消費者同埋呢個電信商嘅責任如何去界定？
聽唔到，所以講多次。
責任點界定？
責任點界定啊？咁真係合約精神啦嚇，因為其實好多時就係 究竟嗰個條款有冇寫清楚，同埋大家嗰個理解上邊係咪清楚？咁所以今次呢，我哋唔可以講話佢哋係有一個不良銷售嘅手法，但係我哋會覺得呢，即係當雞同唔係唔好雞同鴨講嘅，即係當你講又講，賣嗰陣時又賣得唔清楚，買嗰個又以為自己清楚，又或者冇問清楚嘅話呢，就出現咗好多呢一啲嘅爭拗嗰個嘅問題。咁同埋呢，有一樣嘢就係語音嘅漫遊服務同呢一個數據嘅漫遊服務呢，其實係兩種唔同嘅收費，兩種唔同嘅服務嚟嘅。咁如果你即係普通嘅電話嗰個嘅 roaming 啦嚇，嗰個語音漫遊呢，其實每1分鐘點樣計法，同埋若果係邊一啲地方係有一啲嘅我哋叫 day pass 嚇，即係每一日嗰個嘅每一個嘅 pass 係乜嘢？嗰個中文係即係嗰個通行證啦嚇。咁其實就其實對個消費者嚟講，嗰個經濟上邊即係要俾幾多錢呢？其實都係有一個implication 喺度嘅。咁所以啲消費者都係應該要留意咯。咁真係今次最緊要俾消費者嘅建議就係唔好草率買。唔好以為好簡單，真係問清楚你自己嘅需要，你先至好買。同埋記住呢，就係如果係2字頭電話呢，你係用呢一個數據漫遊呢，你係打唔到嘅。除非係個別嘅電訊商，佢哋有一啲嘅下載嘅軟件可以俾你用一個比較平啲嘅方法，甚至係免費嘅方法打嘅啫。如果唔係嘅話呢，語音嗰個如果係冇每一日嘅通行證，因為好多地方都冇呢啲通行證嘅，咁你就真係要上網去睇清楚你每1分鐘係講緊幾多錢，你先至好慳住嚟用咯。
The next question from SCMP， 唔需要啦。仲有冇其他問題？係 The Standard。
Hello. Well, I would like to clarify the first case because the complainant was charged for $100 for roaming fee in total, or the complainant was charged $100 daily from every day. So but he didn't pay until the consumer council involved and just.
It is a day pass. It is a day pass. The whole point about this is not the monetary loss by itself. It is $100, okay, as a day pass. But the problem is the consent. Whether the consumer, if I don't respond to you, it means an implied consent. So this is the area, this is the issue that we want to bring up. It should be an explicit consent to accept to reopen my data roaming service. I have already declared for a long time or marked for a long time that I don't want to have the data roaming service already. But without my direct consent, you open it. And then without my awareness about this reopening of the service, then you charge me. This is not fair to consumers.
Got one more question. In the third case, the complainant bought the SIM card for a year, 365 days, but the SIM card's valid period was way shorter than the expected 1 year. So, did the telecom provider have a chance to breach the trade description ordinance, for failing to provide the?
Probably not, because there's two different products. But the consumer. She has the understanding that, when I buy this product, the expiry date should be the same. But this is a misunderstanding because in reality, they are two different products. One is a prepaid SIM, the other is a data roaming package to Europe and also to America. It is a full year pass. So it could have different expiry date. So this is exactly the point that I just mentioned. If you don't ask the details and the salesman didn't present the information clearly about this difference in expiry date, that create a dispute.
有冇下一條問題？係就住呢一個題目。咁如果冇咧，我想問下商台頭先你嗰條問題，想唔想翻轉頭問翻嗰個關於豌豆嗰個 ？OK， 我哋等一等下。咁我哋商台，你問翻你嗰條問題先啦，唔該。
就想問下咧，即係今次見到有做三色豆入面都有即係測試到一啲胡蘿蔔素嘅一啲含量啦。咁但係想問下，即係點解冇做到胡蘿蔔粒咧？因為即係比較之下，即係胡蘿蔔粒可能有營養啲啦。即係想了解下啲，即係點解冇做啊？咁樣。
你講係胡蘿蔔粒 即係我哋去揀選嘅時間咧，其實咧嗰個採購考慮嘅時候咧，都要睇翻咧係咪好多係獨立包裝嘅。咁其實咧今次做嘅咧，我哋都睇翻咧，其實好多係包裝嘅，就係個別係啲粟米粒啦，同埋一啲係包裝係純粹係豌豆粒啦咁樣。咁你見到好多其實坊間啲蘿蔔嗰啲咧，其實都會有其他嘅其他嘅即係蔬菜啊或者其他嘢咧溝埋落去咁樣，咁變咗呢個測試嚟講咧就唔可以話淨係得嗰個嘅物品咯嚇。咁所以咧比較集中咗去咗粟米粒同埋呢個豌豆粒嗰度咁。
即係其實係方便比較嗰個問題啦，因為如果有好多叫雜菜粒，即係嗰啲叫預先包裝同埋冷凍嘅雜菜咧，其實裡面嗰啲雜菜係唔同噶嘛。咁但係如果係唔同嘅雜菜，我哋係用嗰個每一個獨立嗰個嘅嗰個雜菜個菜自己本身去比嘅話咧，咁就唔係咁容易去比較嘅。反而我哋係常見喺呢個豌豆粒同埋呢一個粟米粒咧，好多人屋企咧都可能都有呢啲咁嘅呢啲嘅冷凍嘅菜啦嚇。咁佢哋就會自己去調教啦，即係有時我就想要粟米粒，有時就想要豌豆粒咁樣。咁如果係咁去直接比較嘅話咧，得出嚟嗰個資訊咧，可能亦都會準確啲啦。亦都係容易啲比較啲，俾消費者去參考。同埋喺今次亦都係希望俾消費者多啲嘅資訊同埋教育咧，就係講唔同嘅維他命嗰陣時，佢哋對熱啦、個環境啦、點樣煮啦、嗰個營養值嗰個嘅保留嗰個問題嚇。因為若果大家若果你真係將啲豌豆粒同埋呢一個胡蘿蔔粒係不斷咁樣去煲好耐嘅話咧，咁可能咧就因為嗰個熱嗰個問題，因為維他命 C 係比較第一水溶性啦，第二佢係好敏感喺嗰個烹調嘅方法啦、個熱度啦，咁就會真係令到你以為食咗好多營養落去維生素落去，但係原來真係喺個煮餸嘅過程，即係烹調嘅過程裡面係流失咗好多咯。咁呢啲都係大家需要留意嘅，同埋點樣去雪藏啊？呢一啲我哋就係叫深度啲嘅資訊去提供俾消費者。
咁即係想再追問咧，就係有冇數據或者文獻咧，係即係可以參考下，係即係蘿蔔粒有比較之下，其實係咪有營養啲嘅？雖然冇做到，係
胡蘿蔔粒係大家如果係睇翻我哋今次呢一篇文章嗰個表，有一個表㗎，應該係佢講咗佢係胡蘿蔔自己本身嗰個嘅營養值嘅。等我睇下先嚇，番石榴水維他命 C、胡蘿蔔素。等唔喺呢度，等有嘅。
咁嗱，譬如胡蘿蔔素咧，都屬於常見蔬果啦。咁我哋即係都睇過咧，其實咧啲文獻咧，如果即係喺100克嚟講咧，其實胡蘿蔔咧本身咧都含有咧8280個微克嘅beta 胡蘿蔔素嘅嚇，咁其實都幾多下嘅嚇。咁另外其他 source 可能係啲即係嗰啲 beta 胡蘿蔔素咧有嘅，即係包括啲去皮嘅番薯啦、菠菜啦、南瓜啦，咁呢啲都唔少嘅其實。
我哋可以將呢一個表同埋，因為常見動物性嘅食物啦，都有維他命 A 嘅，譬如話豬肝啦，大家估唔到原來都係一個比較高嘅維他命 A 嘅一個食物嘅來源嚟㗎。咁蛋黃啊、牛油啊呢啲都有嘅。咁我諗呢一個表我可以麻煩同事去再提供翻俾傳媒朋友可以嚟參考，好冇？
可以啊。咁我相信今日嘅問題係嚟到呢度啦，嗬。係，如果大家冇問題，咁多謝晒今日嚟到我哋嘅發佈會，唔該晒。
多謝大家。今日落雨係好辛苦啊。
多謝晒。